Now, shrooms, on the other hand, dude, I got introduced to shrooms, and I'm 100% in. Yeah. But I don't like to, like Israel, if you've been around him, Israel's the kind of guy, he'll eat a handful of anything, and he's ready to rock. Like, he'll eat a handful of acid. Yeah. He'll eat a handful of shrooms and like, all right, let's go someplace. Yeah. I'm the exact opposite. I'm going to eat shrooms and I don't want anybody around me. I just want to sit in my front yard and listen to the wind in the trees.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like and watch the stars kind of move around a little bit. I like that. And then go to bed and try to go to sleep, but every time I close my eyes, it's a fucking color show. That's what I like. I like just to because I'm in a different world. I'm chilled out. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm not stressing over anything. My wife messed up and took me to a convenience store one time while I was still high, and I yelled at a guy.
Oh no!
I didn't mean to yell at the guy. He asked me how I was doing, but you start to get those visuals where shit kind of moves a little bit, and that's kind of where I was at in it. And you ever seen somebody that's got like a naughty nose? Yeah. Like their nose is kind of misshaped. So, and he had one of those. It was big and it was naughty. Had all these lumps and shit on it. And so I kind of looked over my shoulder because he's standing too close to me and I was freaking out. And I looked over and his nose is doing this shit, moving around. And he goes, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm fine."
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, fuck, that was too loud. So I just walked away from my wife and went and stood by the door to wait. And she goes, "Why'd you walk away?" I said, "I didn't mean to yell at that guy." She said, "You didn't." She said, "You spoke at a normal level." I said, "I swear I yelled at him." She goes, "No, you didn't." I was like, "Oh, shit. Can we just go home now?" She's like, "Yeah." So she puts me in the car, pull your hat down, stare at the floorboard, don't look out the window, because shit looks like it's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. I should be doing 25, and I'm like, fucking slow down! It feels like you're in Star Trek, and they just went warp speed. I'm like, oh my God!
Hello, and welcome to episode 22 of Rhythm and Wit, the podcast and video series where we discuss and explore the creative and artistic expressions of artists and performers in Oklahoma City and its neighboring cities, otherwise known as the greater metro area. My name is David Steele. I am a bass player, a music producer, a graphic designer, a photographer, and a film hobbyist. My co-host is Nicholas Campbell. Nick is a stand-up comedian, singer, songwriter, guitar player, electrical contractor, a husband, father, and my best friend for almost 25 years. In today's episode, we welcome a special guest, Matt Ferrell. Matt is a traveling stand-up comedian, otherwise known as a road dog, as well as a producer and the creator of My Peecock Comedy. We talked to Matt today about what it's like to be a comic on the road, as well as what's off limits in comedy, and why you should consider getting out of your hometown if you're a stand-up comic and you want to grow your fan base. We also discuss setting goals for yourself on stage and also setting limits for yourself on how long you drive the day of a show. We also talked to Matt about his production company, My Peecock Comedy, and his upcoming comedy festival, the Wild West Comedy Fest, April 5th through 7th in Los Trece, Texas. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and podcast feeds to keep up with new episodes that drop every Friday. We hope you enjoy today's episode and our conversation with Matt, as we greatly appreciate your time and attention.
You ready? I'm ready. In 5, 4, 3.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rhythm and Wit. My name is David Steele, and with me, as always, is
Nick Campbell.
Today, we have a special guest, Mr. Matt Ferrell. Yeah. Thanks for coming, man.
We finally got a big-time comic.
Yeah, you're good. No, it's all good, but thanks for coming. Yeah.
Hey, before we get started, before we get too deep into anything, I'll tell you how jealous I am of you two guys. Okay? Nick, you got a fantastic head of hair.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thanks, man.
You got great hair.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with it.
Yeah. So you can't say that for me.
No, but you can shave your head.
Yeah.
You've got a good shape to
We
it.
were just talking about that.
Yeah, we were.
I'm fucked. I've got, dude, my hair is so bad. First of all, I need a haircut, but
Yeah.
my parking lots are back here.
Yeah.
I've got a scar right on the center of my head, so it doesn't grow right in the center. I'm starting to go bald back here, but I also have a scarred up and misshaped head.
Yeah,
So
so
if I
it's just-
shave it, it looks even worse.
Oh, really?
So I'm a ball cap all the time guy.
Yeah.
So I'm jealous of both.
I was wondering about that.
Congratulations on your
Yeah.
heads.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Thanks.
God
I got it
bless
from my
y'all.
mom.
Yeah.
No, but
Anyway, I was thinking about that. I was like, man, both those guys got great heads.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
I've
Nothing
always
about
worn,
my comedy though, but great head.
I've always worn a lot of hats too. I've always worn hats in high school, but like I was doing these flat caps, like the little cabbie looking hats.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I have a ton of them, but I stopped wearing them as much. But it was always because I was worried about my bald head and shit. So like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put a hat on and don't worry about it.
And now you
But-
just embraced it.
Yeah, I think so. It's like now
I've not reached the embrace. I haven't reached
Well,
it.
that's what I was telling him. He was getting ready. And I was like, dude, you look good with a bald head. You're like, that's in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan
It's
and
easy
Kratos.
because
You know?
I save money now on going and get haircuts every month. So
that's true. Do you just do it yourself?
Oh yeah, it takes like probably 10 minutes or less. I mean,
nice.
I don't do it sometimes as much as I should. You know, it's like I'll do it at least every couple weeks usually, and I'll just buzz it all the way down. But sometimes I'll let it go for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. This is like I shouldn't.
For a long time, like I always did. Like we were broke forever.
Yeah.
So like I always just got a haircut at home.
Yeah.
But now, like I enjoy going to the barbershop getting hair just because I like talking shit
Yeah.
with people and visiting.
Yeah.
Like every opportunity is a chance to run new jokes. Like, that's
Yeah.
how I practice a lot of my new jokes. I'll bring them up in conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll run them just on individuals. So like in a barbershop's great places. So I enjoy going and getting a haircut, except now I don't like people seeing me without a hat on.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Like at
real
all,
self-conscious
yeah.
about it. Fuck them kids. Like my kids are the reason that I have any self-conscious issues.
Yeah.
Like especially my youngest. My youngest, again, you've got like there's a lot about this in your routine.
Yeah.
My youngest son is a fucking bully.
Oh, does
And
he
I
know it?
pick on my son. Like, I mean, like it's just playful banter.
Yeah.
But I ask my wife all the time, like, hey, like we'll be at a dinner table in a restaurant or something. I'm like, babe, can you get him to stop picking on me? Like, I act like one of the, like, why is he picking on me?
Yeah, but
Like
it's
he'll walk
like-
up and poke me in my spare tire here.
How old is he?
He's 16,
yeah,
and I bought a hoodie, and man, I was so proud of this hoodie. I liked it. It was kind of a hip looking. It was made of like like long handle material, like that waffle looking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like long johns.
Yeah.
That is that
Yeah, nice
made out of
little-
that. It had a hood on it, some long strings. It was an olive color. I was like, dude, that fucking looks good. I think I could pull that off.
Yeah.
The first time I wear it and my son sees it, he comes out of his room and looks at me and goes, "Are you a lesbian?" So I immediately took it off,
You're
put it in the
like,
closet,
never
haven't
wear
worn
that
it since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, God dang, dude.
That's
You're always picking on me.
Yeah.
Is he? So he's 6. When did he start? When did it all begin? Was it 14?
Oh, it's the teenage years.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
When he really started hammering on.
Yeah.
He's always been a smartass,
yeah.
which I love.
I wonder where they got that from.
Their mom, definitely. Yeah, all three of them. I've got 3 kids. All 3 of them are awesome. They're all funny, but they're all funny in their own way. And a lot of times, their funny is so inappropriate that it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like they'll say shit, and I'm like, you can't say that, man.
Yeah.
Like, don't, especially not in public. Like, what's
Right.
wrong with? Like, their humor is. My 2 sons, they joke. Oh god, they say stuff that is so off the wall. And I'm like, why would you say that? And they're like, it's funny though, right? I'm like, yeah, but it's not supposed to be.
Right.
We're not supposed to joke about the Holocaust. Like,
Which I think some of that stuff, it's interesting. That's why I like comedy. I say this a lot because it does give you the opportunity to say things that you shouldn't probably say, and it makes people think about things that they don't want to think about.
Yeah.
But there is a point, I think, when you're raising kids, it's like they have to know when it's appropriate to say that or not. Like you're saying, don't say that shit in public. Don't be careful who you say that around. That's the real key, because it's like
Which
there's a lot
anytime,
of-
like anything with raising kids. Like basically, you just have to do what you can,
Right.
and then hope that it took.
Yeah.
So like when you send your kids out in the world, you go like, I hope they're a decent human being. We did the best we could.
Right.
So same thing with the dark sense of humor. Like,
Yeah.
it's cool that you've got that sense of
Right.
humor. Hopefully, I've taught you. Like there's some places you can't say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I
And
think
they
they all
probably
do pretty good at that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my
But
parents didn't teach me that. I had to learn that the hard way in my 20s.
Yeah.
I
Right.
said a bunch of dumb shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and then people were just mad.
you
You're
didn't
like,
know why.
oh.
You're like, I was trying to be funny.
Yeah.
You hit a couple walls and you're like, all right, maybe not that one. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I like
not everybody thinks racial jokes are funny. Like, okay.
So, okay.
My grandpa told me that joke. I thought everybody would like it.
Yeah.
Well, my grandpa told me old. I mean, I don't tell him anymore in public, but like old hair lip jokes and stuff like
yeah.
that. You know, because they had a bunch of where they were, and he had
that's
it was like he knew them all.
Yeah.
You know?
different
Yeah.
time for sure. And
Yeah.
it's like, and it's like a less, less culturally aware. I mean, like our grandparents didn't even know any black people or any Asian people or whatever. It's like, and so of course they're not gonna know. They've never been around anybody that could be offended by that joke.
Yeah.
So it's a different thing.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
definitely changes.
cultural and the
But
times.
I think just watching my kids and the way they interact. Like, I mean, because my youngest son, he's got a whole array of friends. Like it's the Rainbow Squad.
Yeah.
Like he's got friends that like is at least half Asian of some kind.
Yeah,
he's got a couple black friends that run around with him all the
races.
time. Like they're all different, and they all talk so much shit about each other.
Yeah.
Like crazy shit they say to each other, and I'm like, oh my god, like you can't, like, because I just heard my son, and and he said something about one of his black friends. I was like, dude, you can't say that. And he goes, he's the one that told me that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And like they joke back and forth like that. So I think everybody being offended is our age.
Right. That's
The
kind of
kids, they're not
interesting.
offended. Like they think shit's funny. Like they're okay with that joking back and forth and the talking about race and talking about sexuality, all that. Like the kids that age, they're cool with it. They're not the ones being
they're
offended.
growing up in it.
Yeah.
We're being offended on their behalf.
Right.
Which is
Maybe backwards.
Well, that's like our issue at that point, really. I mean, or as far as like our internal problem with, I think, humans in general. I mean, we all have these issues with,
Well,
ethics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's like I'm an electrician, right? And so I think of it like this: is like working with electricity is dangerous, right? But if done in the right way, it's safe. You know?
Right.
So if you respect it and apply it properly, then you can. I feel like it's the same kind of thing, man.
Yeah.
I do think,
That's a really good way to put it.
but I think it's a way of navigating topics. I think that anyone, or not say anyone, but most people, you could make a joke about anything, essentially. I mean,
nothing's off limits.
Potentially, right? Like, I mean, but there are different ways to go about that.
So here's probably from people that are not in comedy. Probably one of the most common questions. Like, and I don't know if you've heard this. Hey, what's off limits? What can you not
What's
joke
the
about?
boundary?
And this is like, listen to my whole explanation. Don't listen to just the first half. Nothing's off limits. Like, there's nothing better than a good rape joke. But it better be a fucking good rape joke. Because if it's a mediocre rape joke, then it's just a shitty thing to say.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
you can make a joke about anything as long as it's done right and crafted well. There's nothing that's off limits. There are people who make jokes about the Holocaust. There are people that make racial jokes. There are people that do, other religious jokes, sexual jokes. People who make fun of trans people. If they're doing it right, that's why it's successful.
It's like,
But the people who get in trouble are the ones who are not doing it well.
Yeah.
or
The people who are trying to, like, people who are in it just for the shock factor. Like, that's, I'm not a fan of that. But there are people that make a living on it and do well, so whatever they want to do, whatever you can make work. It's just not, to me, a joke needs to be made well enough that everybody knows that it was a joke. So
that's I think a big thing. It's like, you know, so I think about a lot with any kind of jokes. I think it's like if you want somebody to know you're joking, it's like push the exaggeration as far as you can to make it. It's like this is obviously absurd, you know. That's kind of the key. And I think some people don't do that enough, and that's why some jokes don't hit as much, or especially if you're just in conversation and not on stage doing jokes. It's like if you make a joke and somebody doesn't know what you're talking about, it's probably because you didn't make it well known that you are trying to make fun of something or whatever.
And somebody who we've all just saw last night did a great example of that is Katie Styles. Like she had a couple of jokes that were definitely very racially offensive if not done well. But she did them so good.
I think
they were great.
Well, I don't think they come from a place of like understanding, versus like just saying it to say it.
So there was a couple at that show last night. I love them. They're great people. They've come to several of my shows. They're a biracial couple. And she has grabbed him by the hand and gotten up and walked out on shows during an opener of mine one time because she was offended by something that he said. In that scenario, it was hilarious because the guy that said it is the nicest guy you could ever possibly meet. And he went to the only other black person on the lineup and said, hey, this is a joke I thought of. Are you okay? Like, he checked with everybody, made sure it was okay. And she was offended. They got up and left. So Wayne last night, I had never seen Katie before last night. And he said, you've never seen her? And I said, no. He goes, dude, buckle up. Get ready. And then she started saying something, and when she got into those, like, I just immediately looked at them to see how it was going to go. And both of them sat there and laughed, and I was like, that's a good crafted joke. Because I know those people are easily offended by racial jokes. She just did a horrifically racial joke, and they laughed at it, which means that she did her job well. So...
I think
so. How long has she been doing it? Like 2002?
That's what Wayne said. She's been doing it since 2002. Like, she's been doing it a long time.
It felt like a professional.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was
She's
blown
an
away.
absolute killer.
I was blown away.
Me too.
But yeah, dude, Rough Tail altogether was a phenomenal show. At a brewery. You know?
It was fun.
And everybody was there for it. I mean, a little bit of talking and chatter, nothing much though, you know? They were shushing themselves. Did you hear that?
I was surprised. I told somebody last night, when I walked in, I was like, oh, this could be very bad, because there was a ton of people, but they're all drinking, having a good time. I was like, they're not going to, I was curious if they were going to be quiet enough, and they were, absolutely. Another thing I was going to say about the crowd last night, too, was like, I didn't feel like anybody was offended. Or, there's a couple of jokes where it's like, oh, the crowd reacts like, oh, that was, obviously offensive, but I don't think anybody was like super offended by any of the jokes. And it's like, it was a good vibe between the audience and the comics, I think.
And that was my first time ever being there. But anytime I walk into a place and the bar is in the same room as where we're performing, I'm like, well, here we go. It's a coin toss. But last night was fantastic. It was a great spot. Definitely need to do something. Go back here, we gotta adjust the sound to make it a little more even, but it's such a high ceiling, nothing on the walls, all metal and glass walls, concrete floor, very echoey, and really the easiest way to do that is just run 2 more speakers down the side and turn them all down, so that way the volume is equal all the way through the room.
That's a good idea.
I want to get 2 more speakers just like the ones I've got.
Small,
so that was your setup?
Yeah.
That's a good little setup.
Which I use just those 2 speakers. I wish I did more. I announce 1 rodeo a year.
Oh, yeah?
And I use just those 2 speakers for a whole rodeo.
And that's a big, obviously a giant crowd
outdoor arena. And it works perfect for that. Just those 2. So I've been real happy with those.
Is that where you started telling jokes? Was at the rodeo?
Nope.
Where'd you start?
How'd
you get started?
I worked in a casino, and of course I've always been a huge fan of comedy and laughing. And I had a girl that worked for me, and she said, you should do comedy. And I was like, and it blew her off. And this went on forever. Well, anybody, which Rodney Carrington's got a joke about going to a gym, and the instructor in there keeps telling him, oh, you're a badass. I bet you could really whoop somebody. I bet you're tough. He's a boxing instructor. He goes, eventually, after 2 weeks of this shit, I start thinking, maybe I am a badass. So it's kind of the same thing with this girl. She kept telling me, you should do it. And finally, I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to do it. So here's my first show. This is how naive I was. I had never been to a stand-up comedy show. I'd never even been to one. So all my knowledge was from what I had seen on TV or,
Comedy Central,
CDs that I had listened to, and, So I was like, okay, so that's how you do it. Mm-hmm. You rent a huge venue, you sell tickets, and people show up. Mm-hmm. So I rented McMahon Auditorium in Lawton, Oklahoma. It seats 1,500 people.
Holy cow.
I went out. I knew how to put on events.
Yeah.
So I went out and I hustled up sponsors. I got radio ads, TV ads. I did the whole 9 yards. I rented. It cost $1,500 to rent the building.
Yeah.
I got all that paid for through sponsorship money, and I sold 200 tickets.
Damn.
200 tickets to your first show is amazing. When they're in a building that seats 1,500, that's fucking empty.
Yeah.
That's because nobody sits all up front. They spread out. So it's like, hey, it was empty. And I did an hour my first time on stage.
Holy cow, man. How'd it go?
I had to ask my wife the next day because I got drunk on stage.
Oh, shit.
I said, well, how'd it go last night? She's like, it actually went good. I was like, well, first of all, why are you surprised? Like you're supposed to be supportive of me,
But for the first show, you know.
But I hired a guy to record it. Mm-hmm. He took my money, never saw the guy again. So I was never able to watch it back.
Never got to see it. That sucks. What the hell?
Yeah.
He actually did the work, and that's
he
weird.
showed up and did it.
And then he never got the video.
And then just never gave it to me.
It's not like, you got
dude, that was 10, 11 years ago. I'd like to run into that son of a bitch in public right now. Whip his ass over there.
All right,
yeah. That was my first. And leading up to it, my wife was like, why don't you try like a bar or something first? And I was like, this is the way my head still works. Mm-hmm. Okay, if I get a bar and let's say we get 30 people in there, and only half of them laugh, it's only 15 people. But in my mind, I could fill that auditorium. Yeah. I was like, so let's say we get 1,500 people in a room, and only half of them laugh. 750 still pretty goddamn good.
Yeah. Because that's really
the way my head worked.
That's really not, a bad way to think about it. Because I think about it too. I've been thinking about a lot with comics and the crowd, right? It's your best chances of getting a laugh is just getting more people to see it. Because eventually people are going to think it's something, you say it's funny, or what, even if you're the worst comic ever, or the newest person that is starting out, eventually you're going to say something that someone out there is going to laugh at, and it's just about getting in front of those people. But I like that story because it's like you just jumped right into the deep end, which has kind of probably helped you in a way, because it seems like that's the way you've been doing it from the beginning, and you're still doing it like that.
Well, and I've always,
but to much greater success.
It took me a long time to realize that the small shows were important too. Yeah, it did take me a long time to realize that, which is very important. Mm-hmm. You have to do the small shows. Yeah. So now I know that, and it took me a long time to understand the process of building a fan base. Yeah. Which, and I don't know who I heard this from, but it makes sense. Is you take a pebble and throw it into a puddle. And those rings that go out, that's how you build a fan base. Yeah. You got to start right here. And then once you've got that built up, now move out. Mm-hmm. And now move out. And you keep doing that. And that's slowly what I've been doing, which is, now we're doing shows in Tennessee. Right, and, we got some stuff coming up. New Mexico, Colorado. Texas is huge. So you can, you could spend a lifetime in Texas. Yeah,
and never going to leave the state.
Yeah. I'll do a 3-show run in Texas and put 1,200 miles on my vehicle in that weekend. Oh wow! Yeah, and be in the same state the whole time. Yeah. So Texas is just massive. And Texas over the last year and a half has been really, really good to me. Mm-hmm. Doing a lot of shows all over Texas.
Because it's like that kind of, and I think that you've definitely found an audience in this kind of in the region of this area. Oklahoma as the center, of course. It's like, and you can just spread out, and it's like all these people are similar lifestyles and stuff like that, so it's like a great
and I've found the edge. I found the edge.
Yeah.
I went to Iowa and did a show, and it was, which Iowa's a long drive.
And I can't even think of where the hell Iowa is.
It's directly above Missouri.
Okay, okay.
So I went from Oklahoma, Kansas, across the corner of Missouri, and in the far southeast corner of Iowa. and did a show for 8 people.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a long drive for 8 people. And those 8 people stared at me like I was an alien.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, well, this hurts.
Yeah.
And y'all's 8 tickets do not cover my gas money.
No.
So,
Or the time.
so that one hurt, but I found the edge.
But yeah, I mean, you gotta...
I'll break through it eventually. I've just been avoiding getting north of Missouri. I'm like, you know what? As soon as I cross that state line, I'm just uncomfortable. I'm just going to stay down here.
Hell yeah.
So,
yeah, but I mean, you know, you'll get there, like you said. I mean, it's just about, especially if you go, I think once you start going, I've always known about this, about music, right? Like, I've never been a touring musician, not for lack of trying, but like, I've known about, like, if you go on a tour and it's like you hit the same city over and over, like every, you know, a couple times a year, or at least once a year, I mean, people are going to start remembering you, and that's how you build up that fan base in the particular city, and just by repeat business. So basically
that's Fort Worth, like Hyenas Comedy Club in Fort Worth and Dallas. I've done both of those. And the first time we did, which Hyenas in Fort Worth has got 2 rooms. It's got a main room, and then it's got a small room called the Red Room.
Nice.
The Red Room it's supposed to seat 70. We've had a couple shows in there where we've had 85. We had to go and get chairs from the main room and bring them in. So we've had a lot of success down there. But that's a big part to the guys that I put on the show with me. You know, Wayne Morris being the, I mean, Wayne's my number 1 guy.
Is he, where is he from, Texas?
He's from Jacksboro, Texas, which is about an hour from Fort Worth.
Okay, so y'all, because he's
2 hours from me.
Yeah.
He's an hour from Fort Worth.
So,
I used to go like I could go in Texas and just come back to his place and stay all the time.
Nice.
Then he got a girlfriend that likes cats, and I'm allergic to cats, so I can't stay at his house anymore. Yeah.
But no,
I blame her for.
But y'all, because it's like y'all don't even live in the same. Y'all don't even live in the same city or whatever, but it's like y'all still are traveling a lot together and going around and doing great stuff.
Yeah, and we do a lot. Like we'll meet up someplace and then leave somebody's car, and then we'll take off. You know.
So your production company, My Peecock, is that both of you guys?
So it's My Peecock. I started My Peecock Comedy, and then I was like, I don't know what all I want to do with this. And so then Terry Thornton, which you've met Terry. Terry and I we were working with musicians. We were signing contracts, we were managing, we were booking, we were doing all kinds of stuff for several musicians in our area. And then musicians, very quickly I learned, are a pain in the ass. And I was like, dude, I'm tired of dealing with these guys. Like, they're rough. Let's just put all of our focus into My Peecock Comedy. So brought Terry on, and then we did a couple of things with Wayne, and Wayne was just this huge personality that I could tell was 100% down to make stuff happen. So we brought Wayne on, so now it's me, Terry, and Wayne.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
We are My Peecock. Now we've got several other people that help us with stuff, like Andrew Patterson helps us with a lot of stuff, Brandon Whitaker, and then Anna Rhodes. Anna Rhodes, she's been helping us a lot with the festival that we've got coming up.
Oh, nice.
How's she helping? What is she doing?
She's helping with like getting a lot of the marketing stuff put together, because that's what she does. She does online marketing and stuff for different businesses. So she's helping us with that.
About that.
yeah, for sure. She's very, very smart, and she's got to be the sweetest person on the planet.
Yeah,
like she's so nice.
Great.
And
her
funny,
husband.
He's so
fun to be around.
And a great roofer, guys. If you guys need
it. 1907 roofing.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Give Mike Rhodes a
I
call.
already traded him some of my electrical information so we can, trade some stuff.
Yeah. So
yeah, she's great.
Yeah, they're great people. So she's been helping us a lot with that stuff and getting our merch lined out. So I mean, I guess that's a good segue right into the festival that we've got coming up.
Absolutely.
The first weekend of April, we're doing the first annual My Peecock Wild West Comedy Fest.
Yeah.
And the reason it's called that is because where we're having it is in Early, Texas. Right outside of Early, there's an old west town called Los Trece. And it's like they've shot commercials there and Old West TV shows and stuff. Like, it's a legit Old West town. Like, you walk in, you're on Main Street, and there's a cantina, and then there's a saloon, and there's it's a phenomenal place. First time we did a show there, we had talked about doing a festival but it was just always on the back burner. We went there and we were getting set up for a show, and we're just kind of walking around during the day, and I'm like, that's a stage, that's a stage, that's a stage. This would be a badass place to have a festival. So we called the owner, and she went and sat down with us, and we're like, hey, what do you think about this? And she's like, I would love to do something like that.
Nice.
And it was like, okay, what do you think about 6 months from now? And we're like, shit, that's a short time frame. Let's make it happen. So we solicited the help of some of those people, and we're able to make it happen. It's going to be 60 comics over a 2-day period. Everybody will get multiple chances to perform.
Oh, cool.
It'll start early in the day and go into the night. Early in the day will be all clean comedy, family friendly, because people's kids and stuff can be there. And then as it goes into the night, it'll switch to adult only, and then we'll have a headliner both nights. And then after the headliner show, then we'll move back into the saloon, which has got a pretty awesome stage in it, which will be the No Holds Bar show.
Okay.
So it'll be like
the late
anything,
show.
the late show, anything goes type of stuff. So our headliner for Saturday night is going to be John Carden.
Oh, nice.
John Carden is a regular opener for Big J Okerson. He was Comic of the Year at Skankfest last year. I've worked with him on a couple of shows. Phenomenal guy, very, very funny. Tammy's boy is what he's known as, because he does he's got a whole. Have you ever seen John?
Yeah, I saw him with Big J and whenever he headlined at Bricktown.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He's a great, and he's a lot of fun to hang out with.
Yeah, that's a good get for sure.
So he's going to headline on Saturday. But for the comics that are interested in coming, one of the things that we're going to do is early in the day before the festival starts, is we're going to have seminars. 1 hour long seminars. There'll probably be 5 of them on different subjects. One of them will be booking shows, like how to get booked. One of them will be about social media presence and how to grow your social media. We'll have one about writing, writing jokes and stuff. And John had volunteered to show up early in the day and set in on all the seminars to help answer questions for comedians.
So it'll be like a kind of a little panel of people, whatever.
So it's going to be a great thing. It's going to be a huge benefit to all the comics that come. They'll be able to get something out of it for sure. As well as stage time.
And just networking too, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so we're also going to have the Thursday before will be for comedians only, if they want to. If they can get down there early enough. Some of them won't be able to, but if you can come in on Thursday, you can, and it's just going to be a networking deal.
Yeah, a little
visit with all the other comics and stuff.
Probably.
All of the comedians will get swag bags when they get there, which will have different merch in them. I don't want to say what that is yet, but there's going to be some cool merch in the bags. That's all going to be customized to the My Peecock Comedy Fest. So we're really, really excited about it. But
you got all this together in 6 months?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, what is the dates? Do you have?
It's the first weekend of April.
Okay.
So what's it? Let's look. There's Anna Rose just sent me a message.
Nice.
Let's not respond to her right now because that would be unprofessional. So it'll be the 5th and 6th.
Okay.
Are the days of the actual festival. April 5th and 6th. Comics can get there on the 4th for the meet and greet. And then on Sunday the 7th, there'll be a big breakfast and everything for the comics before they leave. So it'll be a great time, man. And
I'll get my room now.
That's another thing I was gonna say. If you're a comic and you're wanting to get down there, a couple of the hotels in the town, we've already blocked out rooms for, so that if you say you're with the festival, you can get a good deal on a room. But we just learned yesterday, never in my life would I have thought that this would be a problem I have. There's an eclipse, and it's going to affect my life. Never thought that would be a problem, but apparently, I don't know, it's a solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, I don't know.
One of those.
But apparently it's going to go right over where our festival's going to be, so I would never think about traveling across the country to look at an eclipse.
Right.
Yeah.
But apparently people are already calling to book rooms because they want to be there when the eclipse goes over. And the eclipse is happening the same weekend as our show.
So, yeah.
I want to turn that into a positive and go, hey, a benefit is when you come to our festival, you also get to witness the eclipse. We planned that.
Put it on the poster. As a bonus.
Yeah. That's when we're going to have the bad comics.
This eclipse is going to be so awesome, the sun's going to disappear. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's a natural.
So, if any comics that are planning on going down there, I would go ahead and start looking at booking your rooms now, because apparently the eclipse thing is an issue.
Yeah,
I think me and my wife are gonna make it like a weekend and just
for sure
the whole thing, man.
Also on site in Los Trece, they have some Airbnbs. Like they've got some little cabins and stuff. Yeah. They're a little more expensive, but you're on site. Like you can get out of bed and walk to the stage.
Oh, that's killer.
So.
Yeah, so and you've got that on your website, that information to sign up and all of that.
You go to mypeacock.com. There's a link on there for the festival. You can sign up, submit your video.
Right.
Have you already submitted?
Yeah, I already submitted. As soon as you guys posted it, I put it up.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So here's another thing. I suck at all that shit.
Yeah.
I'm so bad with that. Like I called Wayne the other day, and I was like, "Hey man, pick some submissions." Like because we're right now we're fixing to do like here probably this coming week is we're gonna put out 30 of the people that have already been selected.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And we'll make a flyer for each of them. So they can share the flyer saying, "Hey, I'm going to be a featured artist at the festival." So that way it's something, but it also is promotion for us.
Right.
When y'all
but
do
it's
that.
an individualized thing for the comics to share.
So 30 of those are going to be put out this coming week, and then we'll have 30 more to put out over in February.
Right. Nice.
But we want to let people know as soon as possible, so they can go ahead and start making plans. Because we've got comics that have submitted from Canada, California, New York, LA,
cool.
Florida. I mean, there's comics from all over.
It should be a great event to meet people from all over the country. If you're a comic from here.
If nothing else, it's I don't know how much it is to submit. It's
$30,
25, 30, something like that. To submit your video. If you get selected, if nothing else, just going and meeting comics from all over the country that you can possibly collaborate with in the future and go, hey, like you can reach out to somebody and go, hey, if you put me on a show out there in San Diego, I'll get you out here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And y'all make that happen. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. That's a good
$25 is just a fee to get in a room with a bunch of people. Like, that's worth it.
I paid more for less, dude.
For sure. For sure.
Mostly strip clubs.
Yeah.
I like that.
I paid for a full meal at Hooters, and that girl didn't have none.
How'd they get hired?
I really would have thought that was a requirement.
Man, that's really exciting. And so, has putting it together been kind of a stressful but rewarding?
I'm sure it has been for Wayne and Terry.
You're the guy out here talking about it.
I'm the guy that comes up with ideas. I'm like, hey, what do y'all think about this? They're like, oh, that's great. I'm like, cool, y'all do that.
How do you do it? Okay.
Y'all do that.
I agree.
I think that's, but just being able to find those people and having those connections, it's like you don't have to do everything. That's something that I try to do more of, is like I want to meet more people because I do way too much on my own. Like I have trouble delegating things. A lot of it is like I'm the best person that I know to do this stuff, so it's like some of it, obviously there's tons of stuff that are that's like the marketing stuff. It's like I'm interested to talk to Anna about that stuff, because it's like I need to know more about, or potentially asking her to help us with some stuff if she's interested.
Yeah, and if nothing else, she's got the ideas. Yeah, and the know-how. Like she can tell you how to do it. She tells me how to do stuff all the time.
Right.
And I'm like,
tell Wayne.
I need you to tell somebody else, because I'm like, you lost me as soon as you said log in. I'm like, I don't
wait.
So
you
what?
You gotta use the computer.
Password.
Yeah. I've got 9 notebooks with passwords written down, but I don't know what any of those passwords go to. It's just like, so I got to try it. When I get to 3, it locks me out, and you gotta wait 30 days. I'm like, all right, now I'll try this notebook next time.
Well, is that it seems like putting a team together or having some people on your side really kind of helps boost you, or like I said earlier, it's like working to your strengths and working to their strengths.
So I would this is my suggestion to everybody on everything you do, and I learned this when I used to work in casinos, and I learned this I was a director over table games, and I learned this probably then. If you surround yourself by people that are smarter than you, and you treat everybody that's around you good, they will make you look good. They will make you look good. They will do their job because you treat them good. And they're smart, so they're going to have ideas that you didn't think of. And then when they do their job and they do it well, it just makes you look better.
Yeah, because you're a part of the team or whatever it is, a group of people doing whatever it is.
So I was just like the show last night that we did. So first time we've done a full show with you.
Yeah.
We put you on that show. You promoted the hell out of it.
Yeah.
You showed up. You did. You hosted the show phenomenally. You did a fantastic job of hosting. You really did. So part of those people that were there, you did. The show starting and then running smooth, you did. All that did was make me look good.
Right.
Yeah,
we were just talking about that.
Surround yourself with people that do their job well.
Yeah, I like that.
We were talking about that with the videos that we put out. Like, I mean, particularly with Rough Tail, because we did a promo video for it last week on the episode. And I was like cutting those out and sharing them on social media. But it's like Rough Tail saw that. It's like they don't know who we are at all. But it's like there's somebody out here, doing video stuff promoting this show. So that automatically makes you look good.
Yeah.
Even because you're involved with us. I mean,
and like when we got there and Wayne was like, hey, this lady, we met the manager, Tara,
yeah.
We met the lady, Tara, last night. And she was like, hey, this is something we're interested in doing regular.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. I'm not from here.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this regular.
Yeah, and
let's make the introduction.
Absolutely.
So I mean,
and we're in talks. Like we're gonna do a quarterly show, see how it goes.
Okay,
yeah.
That's
that's
you
how
were
it works.
telling me that last time. I was like, I don't know if Nick's already doing 2 shows a month. I don't know if he could do it.
But it's hard not to because I really want to.
Quarterly is probably great for
that's
that.
way better.
Yeah, and quarterly is something you can plan way in advance because you already know the date. It's planned way in advance. You get it lined out. And then now you just wait until 2 weeks before.
Right, or whatever it is.
Well, it's a bigger room, too, and you can kind of slowly get to where you're promoting more for it,
Yeah.
Something I noticed about that room was, what she said, this was like a big thing that I haven't heard. I've heard from behind, like from other people, but from directly from a venue owner, is she was like, we had comedy here before.
Yeah.
And, but they just kept bringing back the same people or similar people, and they had the same jokes.
Yeah.
And she was very frustrated. She's like, I don't want anybody, because she said the brewery community, they all go to the same places, and so they see the same stuff.
Yeah.
And so she was like, we want fresh stuff, so we don't want. So that's why we want to start quarterly.
And you probably need to bring a lot of people from out of town. Then,
Yeah.
Because it's like you already do Lively, so it's like there might be similar people. Like she's saying, they're hanging out at Lively and Rough Tail, so they probably already know a lot of the people we know. They've seen them with that situation or that.
That's
problem.
true, but I also am Lively every time. Right?
Yeah.
And so they all laughed at my stuff.
Yeah.
But I try to make a new 5 minutes every month.
But I think that
that's a good exercise.
It's hard though. Yeah.
It is tough. But I would say, I mean, this would just be my suggestion is when you start doing that, if you're gonna kind of stick with the same format, where we had 4 comics on the show last night.
That's a good amount.
Have 2 local. And bring 2 in from out of town.
At least.
So that way, if they've seen the 2 locals, they're still getting 2 people they haven't seen before.
Yeah.
But you're using some local people. You're giving them a shot at something. But the audience, you're giving 2 people from out of town. There's no way they've seen before.
Yeah.
Right.
Or probably haven't seen
at least.
before.
Yeah. So I
and
mean,
that's a comedy fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that way you can rotate people through, and that makes your rotation so much bigger. Because you've just widened how many people you can bring in.
Because when you started doing that with Lively, you were supposed to be on the Lively before it got postponed because of weather.
Yeah.
But that was going to be the first one where he had some out of town talent on Lively, so that was I mean, we're already going in that direction. So
yeah.
No, I like that. I like that because, like you said, it's one. I like doing Lively in those little breweries because it's like it's not really a show. So not saying that it's any less,
right?
But it has a little bit of more. It's a smaller barrier of entry.
Yeah.
So it's like $5. You come in, you're getting beers, and we provide a food option with a pop-up kitchen.
Yeah.
At Lively, but then it's a great way for like me to get people on stage, get them a show, kind of see how they do, and then like, okay, now let's take them to another place and see how they do there.
Yeah.
And then that next place is like Put a Cork in It, which is like I try to do that more traditional. So 10, 20, 30, like the feature headliner.
And you can't just throw anybody on those.
No.
You got to make sure they know what they're doing and can do even longer than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is
posting about it and putting it out there. I mean, I try to put it, but a lot of people have come to me from Tulsa and stuff and asked like, hey man, is there opportunity here? It's like, yeah, dude, because I'm gonna need people. I'm trying to get people from out of town.
You were talking to Katie about doing it.
Oh yeah. I asked her if she wanted. I was like, man,
she'd be great at that.
Yeah, dude, she would kill. Those people, it's like it's an older crowd.
Yeah, Bricktown crowd. For sure.
Yeah.
At the Put a Cork in It, but Lively's more of a younger crowd.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of balance those. It's a little tough, man.
And that's
whenever I walk into a place and it's all young, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
This might work, it might not. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of people in this room I'm fixing to talk shit about. Not individually, but your group
overall.
as a whole.
We were just talking about that too. I mean, I think it was last night we were talking about the crowd, because it's like everyone on that show last night was perfect for that audience. I think it was just that type of humor, and that audience was just it was a good mix of people. But it was, older, skewing a little bit older, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's like, and Nick kills with the older crowd,
Yeah,
but it's like whenever you go to Othello's and Norman and does the college stuff, it's like, that's tough. So it's like, what if you wrote a set that like kind of catered to the college age, younger generation somehow? I mean, try to write something in that.
Just be like, hey, do you hate your dad?
Yeah, I mean,
how's it going?
There's a way in. There's a way in, but I think you have to be conscious of it and try to do it. I mean, and
you can work those jokes if you get it from an angle from their perspective. I think
that's something that
that's what people, they want something that they can relate to, or they want something so off the wall that they can't fathom somebody saying that out loud. So I mean, there's definitally different approaches.
You've got a few of those, man. You've got a few of those. Those are fun, man.
Gosh dang, it's all so much fun.
So can you want to talk about like kind of some of your style, or I guess your writing process and stuff like that, about like, I mean, how do you come up with jokes? And like, I guess my question is more about like your style of humor. What would you consider that?
I've been told, like, I guess I'm more of a storyteller. But I also, everything that I do is from real life.
Right.
Some of it might have been I was just close to it when it happened, so I just turned it into a story that makes it more relatable. But that's, to me, there's nothing funnier than real life. Your bit about you dealing with you and your son. Like that's I mean, it's based on real life stuff. So it's so funny. It makes it relatable to people, and that's what I try to do. I try to do jokes that people in the audience are like, oh shit, yeah. Like when I do the bit about like when I'm naked from behind, I still look like I have a belt on. Like when I first wrote that, I didn't realize how hard it would hit. Like to me, it was just like a funny little plug to put in there to make the story a little longer. And the first time I did it, and people just erupted, I was like, oh shit. Like people just imagined it, And then I was like, oh, y'all are gonna go home tonight and look in the mirror and see that I'm not lying.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Like I did it, and I was like, damn it.
It
does look like I'm wearing a belt.
That's I mean, anything that people can relate to,
absolutely.
Like I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm working on now, because we've got not tragedy going, but we got hard times going in my family right now. My mom is she's sick and getting worse, and it has to do, like, I think she's like early stages of dementia. My dad just recently had a stroke.
Wow.
So I'm working on material, which those are not fun. That's not funny.
Right. But that's your life.
Goddamn, having a conversation with them. Because my dad his stroke didn't affect him physically at all. He's good. Like, he didn't lose control of his arm or anything. But his speech is wild. Like we go to the kitchen, I need a fire truck. I'm like, you're gonna have to, like, we gotta try that again, Dad, because I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, and he gets he's like, a fire truck. I'm like, it's still not the right word, Dad. Like, so and I talked to a friend of mine who, she had dealt with this with her parents earlier, and she's like, it's a good thing you got a sense of humor, because you're gonna need it. When you're dealing with that, you gotta have a sense of humor. And my dad, now he's understanding that his speech is messed up.
Right.
So he's like, this is gonna be funny for you later. So like, he knows, like, he's like, I want to hear the jokes that you write.
Like later.
Oh, nice.
Like, my parents have been to one show. since I've been to 2 shows.
How long you been doing it?
Probably almost 11 years ago was my first show, but then for 8 years I just kind of did it every once in a while. I might do 2 shows a year, and then the last 2 years really started. I waited until COVID.
Perfect timing.
I waited until COVID, and then I got out of the business that I owned and said, I'm just going to pursue comedy full time. They're like, oh, by the way, everything's shut down. And I'm like,
so
shit.
It was pre-COVID, but yeah. Okay, that makes sense. No, I talk about this a lot, but it's like I got back into music probably in 2017, 2018, and then really kind of took a couple years to get a band, pretty good and getting going. And then we had stuff booked in Kansas City and looking at Texas and stuff in March and April of 2020. And of course, never made it there. And everything fell apart, and it was just the worst timing possible.
That's what we did. I got sick. I had COVID before it was cool.
Yeah. Before anybody knew what it was.
No shit. I went to the hospital, and they were like, oh yeah, you get an upper respiratory infection.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was because I don't go to the doctor ever. I went to the doctor at the beginning of COVID, like before they knew what COVID was. Yeah. And they said upper respiratory infection. They sent me home. Mm-hmm. And then since then, I went to the doctor 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
And that's the only other time I've been to the doctor. And it's because now I'm getting to that age when I get a pain, I'm like,
is that it?
Fuck. Could be,
oh shit, man, this is it. I start WebMD and stuff, and I'm like, what's on this side? Right. My spleen? That's the only thing. Fuck, my spleen! Oh my god, I'm gonna die. And I go to the doctor, and I shit you not, this was his. First of all, I never was put in a room.
Yeah.
They took me in a little side room to get my vitals, and then they put me back in the waiting room. Mm-hmm. And then they said, all right, we're going to do a chest x-ray. So they took me to the back, did a chest x-ray, put me back in the waiting room.
Yeah.
I got there at 7:30 in the morning. I left at 3:30 in the afternoon, was never in a room. They diagnosed me and treated me in the lobby.
Yeah.
And this was his diagnosis. You're just at that age.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
He said, you got a cold, and you coughed for 2 weeks, and you pulled a muscle.
Oh, that happened to me.
He said, you just pulled a muscle right there. So I was like, every time I was like, oh fuck, oh god, I don't know what this pain is. It's unexplainable. The spleen's the only thing that's there. Fuck, I'm dying. Oh shit. Of course, my wife, she's not sympathetic when I'm sick because I'm a baby. Yeah. And this is so I tell jokes about how I used to ride bulls, which I really did. I rode bulls professionally for 6 years.
Wow. Yeah.
I've broken almost everything. Yeah. And
but never there.
I would break. I've broken both my ankles numerous times, and I would just take the brace off, put a boot on, and still get on.
Wow.
I started out riding right-handed, and I got on a bull that jumped out of the chute so hard it pulled both bones in my forearm, just pulled them in half.
Wow.
So it broke both bones, broke my wrist, broke my thumb, whipped me forward, knocked me out. So this arm's now out of commission. So the next weekend, I had a big brace on this arm because I won't let them put a cast on anything. So I got a big brace on this arm, and now I'm riding left-handed. So I never took a break. I ride with broken bones. Like, you can't slow me down.
Oh, no.
If I get a cold, I'm the biggest bitch. I'm like, babe, I need a glass of water. Yeah. So
she's over there. I'm going to get some more of this life insurance.
Yeah. Well, she's like, you realize I've given birth to 3 children. I'm like, that's nothing compared to this, babe, I tell you. So no sympathy from her. But so I went to the hospital 2 times in the last 5
and
years.
they just sat you down. We're like, you're getting old.
Yeah. He says, you're just at that age, man. Shit happens. And I'm like, are you sick? Like, he goes, here's some medicine for pain. I don't.
Yeah.
Stop coughing.
Man,
like, what?
I went to the doctor I had this I had some knee issues, but then I went in there. I was like, I also got this weird lump on my back right here. And he goes, oh, let me look at it. He's like, oh, that's just hard fat. I was like, thanks, man. We're not even gonna look at it. We're gonna take out a scope or a magnifying glass. He was just like, nah, you just fat, dude.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
So you're into like the rodeo and stuff like that, but it's like, is there any kind of hobbies or kind of things that you do that maybe nobody knows about, or creative things particularly? Like...
I would say 99% of my focus is on comedy right now. And then the other 1% I divide up between everything else, and that includes family, which makes me a terrible person. So I used to own a garage door business.
Okay.
And then my oldest son, who's 21 now, he he wants to get back. Of course, he used to work with me all the time when he was younger. Now he wants to get into it. So now I'm trying to help him build the garage door business back up so that he can start doing that. Which we also exchanged information with Mike Rhodes on getting him some jobs up here as well. So like I've been helping him with that. My youngest son is like really big. He's the only one that from an early age he goes, that's what I want to do. Like my daughter who's 24 and my son who's 21, who's just now kind of starting to figure things out, they have never had any idea what they wanted to do. My youngest son was like, I want to be a welder. Like that's it, and he is like laser focused. So like we just recently got him a welder, and I'm picking up extra steel everywhere I can so that he can just build stuff. I picked him up a couple little jobs. He built a handrail for an elderly couple around the corner from us.
That's a really good skill to have. For just building.
Like, I mean 99% of it is comedy, and then 1% I devote to my family, which now with my parents going through everything they're going through, that's taking up a lot of time.
Yeah, what is your? I mean, I personally have a problem or a difficult time with it too. I don't like missing stuff. It's like
family stuff.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite things.
That's part of why I was only for that 10 years. I only did it when I could. I had a regular job, but then I also my daughter was a stud softball player. Like she went to college.
Oh, nice.
Of course, she went to college. She got to play 1 year of college ball. Then COVID happened, and that kind of wiped it out. But I mean, she played college at a very competitive level. She played travel ball. We traveled all over the country with her playing softball, and I changed jobs because I didn't want to miss. I was like, I'm not missing this. Like this is huge. So I'm real big on. But now my kids are all grown and old enough. I'm like, okay, now I can do my stuff. And my youngest one, like I said, he's a welder. So all I got to do is make sure he's got everything he needs. He's going to school for it. He's getting certified. He's doing all that. So he doesn't. There's not much I can do for him because I'm not a welder. I can weld stuff and it'll never break, but you couldn't sell that shit to nobody. It's gonna be ugly. So, but I'm real big. Like I'm really proud of Wayne. Because the reason he left, we did a show here in Oklahoma City last night. We've got a show in Tulsa tonight. He lives 2.5 hours away from here. He drove home last night after that show because his daughter had a basketball game this morning. He went to his daughter's basketball game this morning. Now he's going to drive 3 hours back to Tulsa today, which he could have just stayed in a hotel with me last night. Because I got a hotel up here last night so that I could be here in time, because if I drove all the way home, I would have been late for this show.
Well, that's how Jeff Foxworthy, he used to do that too, man.
Like go back and forth.
He would say his kids always woke up with him at home.
Which I wish that I could say that's always been the case with me. It certainly hasn't, but I've got a rule now. If I'm within 3 hours of home after a show, I'll drive home. No matter how late it is, I'll drive. But anything over 3 hours, as I get older, I'm not good at driving at night. I'll get sleepy and I'll go to sleep.
You don't want to.
I've slept on the side of the highway several times because I'm just like, I'm about to wreck.
Because at that point, you're putting yourself in danger. It's like that's worse for your kids,
right? Yeah, for sure.
For
sure. So I got it, but that's I'm usually pretty good for 3 hours. So if I'm within 3 hours of home, I'm driving home, sleeping in my own bed. Because I want to wake up with my wife. I don't know why she likes me, but she does. So that's my newest rule. Is if I'm close enough to home, I'm going home.
It's a good rule.
So you're full time. You're full-time comedy?
That's it. That's all I do.
Is it? And you make, I mean, not to... You make enough money to live and everything?
No, we're fucking broke. No, we make it. We're certainly not living high on a hog. Right. My wife still has a job. She's got a job, excuse me, and she has a phenomenal boss. Like, she's worked for the same guy for over 15 years. She needs to take off, she takes off. During COVID, there's her and another girl that worked for him as secretaries. One of them worked the daytime, one of them worked in the afternoon. He paid both of them for 40 hours. Oh, that's beautiful. Like he's just a phenomenal guy.
That's good.
So she's got a great job. Doesn't make killer money by any means, but it's enough to pay the bills. And then whatever, which we don't, like I said, we're not living high on the hog.
You're getting by, and you're doing what you love, and
I that's worth it to both of us.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, man, I could, eat up the rest of this podcast just talking about my wife. I mean, she's a fucking rock star.
It's good to have that support.
I think it's the only way you can survive, dude. Liz, she helps me with all the stuff. She's a main part of each show.
Yeah, and I try very hard not to ask my wife to do much on this stuff because she works a 40-hour job, and I don't want her to then come home and go, okay, now I need you to help me with my hobby. But she does. She'll do anything. She'll run a door to show, but she also doesn't get to travel with me as much as I would like for her to. So I'm hoping that we're right around the corner from this shit blowing up. And then she can just go with me everywhere.
Well, it looks like because you're becoming kind of viral. I mean, I see your clips and they've got some views, man.
That's all Wayne Morris.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Wayne Morris, dude. Wayne rubs some people the wrong way. And I get it. I get it. Sometimes Wayne Morris rubs me the wrong way. And he knows it. But Wayne is a guy... I met him at when Andrew used to have a different place in Lawton, and it was called 32. So he was doing it was just another tattoo shop, but he would open it up for comedy, and it was called Comedy at 32. And that's the first time I met Wayne, and we just kind of got to visit, and he's just such an off the wall guy. He was like, "Hey man, like, I'd like to do a show with you or something sometime." I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. So we made it happen. And then I saw how much effort he put into it. I was like, dude, I'll stick with this guy forever, you know? And I have, and I will. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you quit working with us. Now you're just working with Wayne. Like, Wayne puts in effort. Wayne puts in. Wayne's constantly writing new jokes. He's constantly promoting the shows. He really has. On all my social media, I made him an admin on all of my stuff. Because he's better at promoting me than I am. Oh, nice. So, I've got some videos that have got over 600,000 views. Wow. That's all Wayne. Wayne. And here's what I don't get about this stuff that goes viral. It's a terrible clip. Yeah. It's a joke. It cuts off before the punchline. A cop will ask you the same question over and over and over. They're trying to catch you tripping on yourself, right? But I'm tracking. I'm keeping up with everything. I think I'm doing a good job. Officer takes my license registration, walks away, and I get pretty cocky. I'm like, hey, I might have this shit under control, right? Then he comes back up and he goes, Mr. Ferrell, will you step out? And I said, all right, never mind. I wasn't doing as good as I thought I was, I guess. So we get out and we start the field sobriety test. Now, I got pretty good balance even when I'm drunk, so when we get to that heel toe, I put a little bounce on my step, got a little cocky with it, you know? And then we do the eye test. Now, if you've ever had the eye test, you know this is designed to fail. This is probable cause we can take you to jail because you can't pass it. Your eyes don't stay perfectly still, right? So I know I'm going to jail when we complete the eye test, but then he turns around and picks up my license off the hood of his car, hands it to me, and says, please be safe. And I thought I should hurry up before he changes his mind. So I hurry up and get in my wife's vehicle, and on down the road I get. 600,000 views. Cuts off before the punchline.
But is it still
the joke's not even there.
Is it still funny though at all? Like, I mean, there's probably
the joke is me talking about getting pulled over. I don't even get to the part that's funny. It's just about me getting pulled over.
What the hell?
And he has made that same clip. He has made that same clip go viral 3 or 4 times. It's gotten over 500,000 views multiple times.
What does it say in the comments? Anybody comment about it or
I don't know. Read about it. I have no idea what it says.
Yeah, but I'll be curious to see why people like that.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But it's the same thing on TikTok. So I was not gonna do TikTok, but I've got a friend who he blew up real big on TikTok, and he lives in Tennessee, and he called me. He goes, hey man, you should get on this TikTok. I was like, dude, that's like for kids. And he's like, I'm telling you, with what you do, it would be great. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I got on there and I tried to be clever and I put thought into making these videos. Hey guys, coming to a Matt Ferrell and Friends comedy show is just as exciting as getting your first money shot. And I would get, like the most I would get is 1,000 views on something. Yeah. Which is not, I'm not scoffing at 1,000 views, but some of them I would get 6 views. And I put thought into it. I'm like, what is
actually
this?
Trying.
My son at one point in time worked in a smoke shop drive-through. I pull up to I get the camera rolling. I pull up to the drive-through. He opens the window. I flip him off, and I drive away.
That's it.
1.8 million.
Nice.
I'm like, that's what gets it?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. So that's why I'm not good at it, because I just can't
it's like,
wrap my head
Do you
around
upload
what works.
your comedy clips up there too?
Some.
Yeah, and do they get hit like that? Or
Some.
yeah.
Not like that.
It's
That's the only one that I've gotten like that.
Yeah.
Like that. 1.8 million views.
Wow.
I haven't looked at it in a while. It might be more than I don't know. But last time I looked at it was 1.8, and I'm like, there's no word spoken.
Yeah.
I pull up. He opens the
Just
window. I
one
flip him
thing,
off. I drive
yeah.
off.
I mean,
That's it. There's nothing to the video.
Yeah, it's wild.
It doesn't make any sense.
But it's something about, I think, just the moment. I mean, you captured something. There's a lot to take from it. I mean,
Probably
just,
touching on a dad.
yeah, something about it.
And I did start looking like, because when it kept blowing up and going more and more, so I was paying attention to the comments on it. And a lot of, because my son used to have long hair and shit, and a lot of it was just people being shitty.
Yeah.
Like, your son needs a haircut. Are you sure that's your son, not your daughter? And I didn't, like, I don't buy in that shit. Like, people talk shit if they want. I used to love trolling.
Yeah.
Especially when people, I'm not a political guy. I could give two shits less. I don't, Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter to me. They're all professional liars.
Fun of all of them.
dude.
They're going to tell you what it takes to get elected, and then they're going to do what's best for them and their group.
Right.
I'm not in any of their groups. I don't make enough money to be in any of their groups, so it doesn't affect me.
Really, yeah.
I don't give a shit how much gas prices are. I'm still going to put gas in my truck.
Yeah.
If I've got $20, I'm going to put $20 in my tank.
You gotta get what you get.
If I don't have to look at my bank account, I'm going to fill it up. I'm not going to look at how much gas costs.
Yeah.
I just never do.
It's a necessity.
Like, when I'm on the road, sometimes I'll pay it. I'm like, dude, it was $1 less.
Yeah.
7 miles back. I'm gonna keep driving. Maybe the next town will be less. Of course, it's usually a gamble, and I wind up paying more. But like I said, it doesn't matter. Like, you're gonna put gas. You're not. Nobody's gonna go. You know what? Fuck these gas prices. Where's my bicycle? You're not gonna do that. You gonna pack all your tools on the back of a bicycle and go from job to job? Yeah. Yeah. Once it gets to where gas is so much, the jobs aren't paying for my gas. Yeah, I'm done.
It's done.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm not a political person, but I used to love getting on when people would make a political comment. I would just start an argument with
Just
them.
mess with them.
I used to love doing that because I loved getting people fired up, and then I realized how shitty of a person that is.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me stop doing that. And then my wife also told me, she goes, you're trying to be a public figure.
Yeah.
You should probably stop pissing people off. I'm like, all right, good point. Yeah, I'll stop.
I guess I'll write a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. And now I see other people do that. They troll, and I'm like, what a piece of shit. That used to be me.
Like, I've learned my
Like a
lesson.
recovering addict.
Yeah. Then my dad smoked for 40 years, and now when he sees somebody else smoke a cigarette, he's like, oh, that's disgusting. Dad, you literally used to flick your ashes on the dinner table.
We went through the writing process. You write with others. Do you do anything? Scripts, skits, books, anything like that?
No, so I enjoy talking out skits with people. Not very often have we made any of them happen.
Yeah, you guys.
You know what I mean? Like, that's work.
Yeah.
That's work
Putting
to make
in
that
the
stuff
time.
happen.
Yeah,
Making the
it's a lot.
skits, and then it comes down to editing and all that stuff. Like, we did one not too long ago with Andrew. It's a joke that Andrew had. And in Israel, have you met Israel? Goldman? So Israel said, hey, man, that would be a great skit. And then Andrew came to me and said, hey, would you help me make this skit? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So we did a skit where we're, I don't know if you've seen it, we're riding in a car together and we're kind of confessing to each other shit that we do.
Okay.
And so I confessed something terrible, which was a lie, and I had to tell my wife it was a lie. This was about something I do to her. And then Israel confessed, something, and then Andrew's was... Sometimes late at night when everybody else is asleep, I get up and I go to the kitchen, I eat Little Debbie's donut. And we're like, that's it? And he's like, yeah.
When my wife would go to sleep, I'd watch like weird porn. I watched Grannies with Trannies once. And rode one out.
Sometimes late at night when my wife's already asleep, I'll wipe the sweat from between my ball sack and my thigh, and I'll wipe it under her nose while she's sleeping.
Oh, no.
Late at night, I'll sneak into the kitchen, right? And then I'll just go in there real quick, make sure everybody's asleep, and I'll eat Little Debbie's chocolate donuts.
That's it?
That's okay, yeah.
So then the next scene is us all sitting in his living room, and he goes, come here, Little Debbie.
Hey, little Debbie, come here. Come here. Oh, good girl.
Dog jumps up. And then it cuts to me and Israel going, what the fuck?
That's good.
So,
That's good.
and we made it all in one night. He edited it that night and immediately had it posted. And I was like, well, shit, why don't we do more of that?
Yeah.
But but even
that is...
We've had, through My Peecock. Okay, so here's the original purpose of My Peacock, was to help other comics.
Yeah.
That was the whole purpose. We wanted to use My Peacock as kind of a production company to put on shows to just bring other comedians into stuff. Not necessarily us even being on, which I try very hard. Like on the festival we've got coming up, Matt Ferrell's name is not anywhere on it. I don't want people to think it's like I'm doing it for me. That's not what it's about. So it's a festival that we're doing through My Peacock, and it's to just create an opportunity for comedians. And let me tell you something. At least in your first festival, there's not a lot of money to be made.
Right.
Like who you sell tickets to, like what comes through the gate is where you might make money, you might not. All the money that goes into it goes to pay for making the festival happen.
Yeah.
Which we faced a lot of that stuff too, where people were like, oh, you're just using the comedians' money to fund this thing. Like, yeah, that's what every festival does. Your submission money pays for the festival. Like, what did you think it was going to be?
Right.
Which all the comedians' submission money is going to pay for the headliners. Yeah. That's what that money's going to. And I don't even mind breaking this down because it's like we're not doing anything underhand. There's nothing sneaky.
I think it's
all the
good
sponsorship
to
money is going to pay for merch and like the giveaway bags that we're giving to all the comedians. It's all the only money that we stand to make off this deal is if we promote it well enough and people come through the gate.
Yeah. Right.
So, I mean, we're still earning our money. The comedians are getting everything they said they were going to get, and then some. And then we're also paying for headliners to come in. Right. So that's where all the money is. But so we dealt with that. So anyway, I don't know what I was saying.
Or you're talking about the skits or My Peacock's purpose, right? Like
okay. So the festival's a big thing that we wanted to do through My Peacock. Using My Peacock to promote or to produce other shows to help comics and stuff. That was the whole point of putting My Peacock together. And then we started thinking, okay, what's other things we can do with My Peacock? So we wanted, which also we intentionally spell it wrong. It's Peecock.
Right.
That's part of the joke. The logo is a peacock, but the body of the bird is a dick and balls. But when it's in the bright, because we have several different versions of the logo, and when the one's in bright colors, old people don't even realize it. They're like, oh, that's pretty. That's a dick and balls.
That's even funnier.
Glad you like it, Grandma.
Yeah, it's even funnier as far as like the whole joke, because it's like you could say My Peacock and it's like whatever. The peacock.
You've said it 5 times and I've giggled in my head every time.
I mean, but it's like that's just a funny word no matter what. But I think you push that, or it's a subtlety of it. I think is what's funny.
So then we start like a My Peacock YouTube channel, which Wayne and I used to have a podcast called Comedic Influence, and it just got to where, because there's 2 hours between us, it's tough to get together. To get together as often as we need to.
That's when you got to figure out how to do it on the internet, which you can do, but that's a whole other thing.
Dude, and I'll be honest, like if I click on a podcast to watch it and it's a Zoom one, where it's like 2 like split screen or whatever, like I won't watch that.
Really? Yeah.
I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with it. It just I also won't just listen to podcasts.
Yeah,
I have to watch it.
Oh, really?
I have to watch. I'll put it on my phone and prop it up on the dash of my truck and drive. Obviously I'm not watching it the whole time.
But you can
I have to have the visual. Like, I'm not good at just listening.
Right. I think I'm gonna like that a lot. I love watching video podcasts on YouTube. That's how I kind of got into podcasts. I mean, I used to love NPR, and the shows that they would radio shows on there. So I like that stuff, but I would much prefer to watch a podcast and listen. I don't know. And that's why I do so much production and stuff in this, because that's what I love to watch, and so I like to make it too. But I think the conversation itself is the real important thing. So in that sense, the audio is the only thing that really matters.
And that's what Andrew is like I said, we have the Matt and Andrew make the podcast, and he is a perfectionist. Like everything has to be he's like, why is this picture not clear? Or why is this audio not good? And he's a stickler for those things. And it's good that he is, because I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, can they hear me? Cool, let's just go. So we kind of balance it out. But then I have to show him things like Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. You ever watch that? Shane Gillis and Matt McCusker.
Oh yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
It's called the Matt and Shane Secret Podcast, and they're just sitting. It would be like we were sitting in your living room in there, and they all have handheld microphones, and they just sit there. It's a one camera angle, shoots the whole room, and it's just them talking. I'm like, look, that is as basic as you can possibly get, and it's an extremely popular podcast. So you don't have to rack your brain over making things perfect.
Yeah,
just make the content.
Yeah, don't let it get in the way of making the content.
Right, right. So, I mean, in mine and Andrew's podcast, it's just me and him sitting on a couch bullshitting. Just random subjects. But like I said, we try to keep the episodes to about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
you
so
can roll
it's
through them.
quick
It's
and-
nothing. You can listen to it on the way to work.
Right.
So it's not that big of a deal, and that's why we wanted to make them like that. Every once in a while, we'll get off kilter. I think the last one that went up was an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what we talked about. No idea. But okay, back to My Peacock. The other thing we want to do is, because we had the YouTube channel, is we wanted to create shows. And we had all these different ideas for long-running shows that would be, basically, there would only be 20-minute long episodes. And we had a studio in Lawton that we were working with, and we had everything worked out with them, and we were going to do these things. But then we were also going to create our own commercials. And our commercials would be for fake products, but it would just be funny.
Yeah.
Like we were going to do like a line of camping equipment, and one of them was a pop-up porta potty. Like, so in the foreground was going to be a guy dressed exactly how you would think a scoutmaster would dress, like in the above the knee cargo shorts with the hiking boots and the tall socks and the boonie hat and the plaid shirt, like just exactly what you would think a wilderness expert should look like. And he's talking about how great this product is. It's a pop-up porta potty. You can use it anywhere. But then the whole time in the background, there's a guy trying to use it. And he's setting it up, and the wind's blowing it over, and his bucket spills. And, all that stuff. And that would be the commercial for this product that we would play in between our own show. So it would be like, it'd be like TV. There's a show and there's a commercial, but all the commercials would be our creations also. So it'd just all be fun.
That'd be great.
But the time and the editing that it would take to make those, we just haven't found that. We haven't found that time. And you think somebody like me that doesn't do shit else would have the time, but I'm the only one that has all the time in the world and doesn't have any of the knowledge on how to make it happen. So that's where our problem comes in.
But you're hustling. I mean, you're writing, you're working, you're
we're trying. We're trying.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say. I was like, because I watch y'all's podcast. And I listen to the other comics you have on and the advice and stuff they're giving. I've not heard anybody give any bad advice. Everybody's been great. I watched one with Will. I watched the one with Brandon. Like, everybody sounds great. Here's what I would say that I haven't heard any of them say. Get the fuck out of town.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Get out of town. You can only do shows in your own town for so long.
Right.
This is a town of, I don't know, you're over 1 million population.
Yeah, it's a big town, but it's not.
But you're only going to hit the same audience.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, eventually they've all seen you. You can't do...
Especially once you actually...
And it doesn't matter how many friends you have. Your friends are only going to come and listen to your same jokes so many times. Right? So I had a ton of friends at that show last night. And I mean, they're all great friends. I appreciate them coming out. But I start to feel bad. I'm like, dude, you've already heard my shit.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that you just bought a ticket because I'm going to say the same shit you heard 2 weeks ago.
Sometimes that's okay. I mean, because I see a lot of the same people a lot, which is fine. I was telling, I think, somebody about this recently on the show, but like, it's like whenever, for me, sometimes even for you, it's like I know a lot of your bits, even from seeing you. I've seen you once before. I can't remember where, before Lawton a few weeks ago. But like, cause I know some of those jokes, it's like, I know I've heard him say this before somewhere. I can't remember where, but a lot of these bits, it's like, I like it because it's like when you start the setup, it's like, oh, I know the joke already, and then I get excited because it's like, I like this joke or whatever.
You like, kind of like you're in on it.
It's like a song for a band that you like, I think. Yeah. For some people, maybe not everybody, but for me, I think that's fun to see comics several times because I like to see the progression and see, you know, what you might change about the joke or whatever too.
Yeah.
But
but I mean, like, you got to go get in front of people that have not seen you before.
That's the key.
That's how you build that fan base moving out. You know, and I'm not saying that like you should drop everything and run to Tennessee or, you know, go to California. But like, it wouldn't be nothing for you to start doing more in Tulsa.
Yeah,
you know, it's an hour and 20 from here.
Like,
go do some stuff in Tulsa. Hit a few stops there, and once you get like you're starting to feel real comfortable there, now get out of your comfort zone and go do something in Fort Smith.
Yeah.
You know, and then once you get out of your comfort, you know, once you start getting in your comfort zone and you're feeling good there, go to Little Rock. Like, you can drive to Little Rock and do a show and come home.
Go do mics or just
do everything you can.
Okay.
Yeah, everything you
just
can.
Get in front of people there.
That's like sometimes I'll drive to Tulsa just to do an open mic.
Yeah.
That's a 3-hour drive for me.
Yeah.
But I'll drive to Tulsa just to hit a couple open. I mean, I try to do it on a night when I know I can hit more than one.
Right. Yeah.
But I just got to go run new jokes in front of people that have not seen me before. Okay. Like, you can't keep doing it in front of the same people. Otherwise, you don't know if you're getting better or if these people are just your friends and they're supportive. Like, you've got to go where people are going to judge you.
Oh, okay.
So that way you know if the joke's good or not. That's the point. That. You also can't just hit the Bricktown open mic where most of the time it's just the other comics because they're not giving you good feedback. Most of the other comics are working on their set that they're fixing to go up and do. They're not listening to you.
Right.
So you're not. They're
not actually an audience member.
Yeah, they're not a good. Other comics are not a good audience.
Yeah.
You know, and I used to drive down to Dallas every once in a while. I'd go down there and stay for 2 or 3 days, and just hit open mic because you can hit 4 open mics a night. Down
Dallas.
There, and I would go down there and stay for 2 or 3 days and just hit as many mics as I could, and but it's all other comics. So. And they're not paying attention to you. So I'm like, dude, what am I doing down here?
Because sometimes you might feel like you're bombing even though you're probably fine, but nobody's paying attention because they don't care necessarily.
I'll find ways to challenge myself. It's like last night. I don't know if you noticed him. The table right in front and center where Katie was sitting with her mom.
There was a big, long table.
About midway down that table, there was a guy with perfect hair and a real pretty blonde girlfriend. That guy did not smile the entire show until right at the end, and I could not take my eyes off of him. Everybody else I'm scanning around the room, I'm looking at everybody else. Everybody's having a good time, everybody's laughing, they're engaged. I got this one guy straight down the middle of the room, looks like he's mad that somebody made him come.
Yeah.
But towards the end of my set, I finally got him to sit back in his chair and put his head back and laugh.
Relax,
And I was like, cool, I did it.
Yeah.
Like, so that was my challenge for myself. Like, I'll try to find somebody.
Yeah.
And go, or like somebody that's been to see you 100 times. And you know, okay, I got in my back pocket, I've got this new joke that I've been working on.
See if they've
already heard all my stuff. I'm going to focus on them when I hit this new joke to see if it hits. You got to find somebody that's going to be an actual gauge for you. So I do that. Like, when I get on stage, first, 5-10 minutes of my set, I'm scanning the room, seeing where we at. Where's everybody at? Who's feeling it? Who's already warmed up from the comics before? Who doesn't look like they're enjoying themselves? I'm gonna find something. There's a bar in Dallas. I think it's in all those towns will run together down
Fort
there.
Smith area.
It's in the Dallas area. And I think it's called the Mad Hatter is the name of the bar. And they used to have an open mic in there. And I went in there, and I was like 12th on the list, and I'm sitting midway back through, and there's a ton of people in there, not just comics. Nobody's paying attention to the comedians. So I'm watching, and I'm kind of like, nobody's paying. I'm like, all right. So when I go up, my goal is to just get the room's attention. If I can get everybody's attention, even if I can't hold on to it, if I can just get everybody's attention. So I go up, and the first line out of my mouth was, I think this age is too old to shit my pants. But I said it louder than I normally talk, so everybody heard shit my pants. The entire bar got quiet. Everybody turned, looked at me. The bartender quit serving drinks. She came to the end of the bar and watched, and I did a 5-minute set with everybody's attention.
And nobody else did that.
And as soon as I was done, the bar went back to normal.
Oh, okay.
But that was my goal. Can I get everybody's attention? So I mean, I tell people to do that all the time. Like, say, like, as soon as you get up there, like, find somebody that's your goal. Or figure out, like, before you go up, figure out what you know, like, what's my goal? Is my goal to get the whole room? Is my goal to divide the room?
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, not too long ago, we did a show in Lawton, and Hurley King was on the show with us, and half of the crowd was his crowd, which means that half of his crowd was 50 and above black. So this is, and then the other half of the room was all white, except for one black guy.
No, you say it was in Lawton? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
So my opening joke was "Welcome to 2024," where apparently we still segregate.
Yeah.
And everybody laughed at that. And then I said, except for this one black guy over here that's telling all y'all's secrets. So I divided the room, and then I brought the whole room together. And that was my goal, because I was like, I'm just looking at the crowd before I go up and I go,
you just noticed
all black, all white, one speck of pepper in a bowl of milk over here. I don't know what's going on with this guy, So I was like, all right, how do the room automatically segregated itself.
Right.
How do I unsegregate them? How do I bring them all together? And sometimes you got, and that was a gamble.
Yeah, because it could backfire.
The room could have just fallen silent and felt heavy all of a sudden, so, but it worked.
Yeah.
And, so I just try to pick ways to challenge myself when I go on stage.
I like that.
Running new jokes, I don't hit nearly as open mics as a lot of people do, but I also stay really, really busy.
Yeah.
So I do 2 to 3 shows a week instead of hitting open mics.
And at what length usually? Like 30 minutes at a time?
My shows? Yeah. I don't very often do less than 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah. So you get a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. My goal, I always want to do, because here's my ultimate goal, is I want to get to where I'm doing an hour and 10, and I've got a feature.
Oh, okay.
No host, no opener, no nothing. Just because I want, because I'm trying to build a fan base. That's just where I'm at now. It's not because I want less people on the show with me. It's because I'm trying to keep this whole room's attention on me for the longest amount of time possible, so that I can build that fan base. Just because that's the point I'm at now, is I have to build the fan base if I want to go to the next next ring out.
Say you're going to a new spot.
Okay.
All right. What do you start to do to build the fan base, and then what are you doing after to continue to build that fan base?
So, Wayne's really good about helping me build the fan base before we get there, because Wayne is that dude. I can't tell you how many groups he's a member of on Facebook. So we did a show in Sulphur Springs, Texas, last week or 2 weeks ago, something like that. Neither one of us ever been to Sulphur Springs, Texas, but we had that show planned 2 months in advance. So he started going and joining all the Sulphur Springs rants and raves, buy, sell, trade.
Right.
Like he went and joined all those pages, all those groups, and then he would promote our shows in the groups, or he would get on there and just talk about, hey, I heard there's a comedy show coming up, and like he was just this random person, but it just gets the conversation started. And then Wayne pays for advertised spots on Facebook and
especially
stuff,
targeted demographics.
Yeah, and he's got it science figured out. Like teachers and nurses are 2 of the best demographics to aim for in comedy.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
I don't know why, but
there's probably a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and teachers and nurses, those are both professions that they have to be very professional at their job. When they get off, cut loose. It's just so like he's really good at getting the area's attention before we get there. And then after we go, and I encourage people all the time, I'm like, hey, take tons of pictures. When you post the pictures, tag us in it. Follow us on social media. Social media, if you're in the entertainment business nowadays, social media is where you live and die. So I encourage people, hey, go like us on social media, follow all the comedians. If you take a bunch of pictures, post them, tag us in it. Every time I'm tagging a picture, I go and comment on it.
Oh, that's
like
good.
Somebody, so now they didn't just go to a show, take a picture, and post on social media. The person that was doing the show engaged with them. So now they know who I am.
I would even suggest, obviously, I think that's great. I think particularly Instagram, as I always think about, I think that's a very popular social media platform most people would like to use, especially for tagging photos, I think. But for me, it's I think it's great to like comment, say thanks at least, thanks for taking a picture, thanks for coming, whatever, as simple as that.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, you could take it further and like reshare it on your story, and like I think that's like huge for that person to be like, oh, they reshared my shit on their page. You know, it's like,
and that's how I took that lesson from Dane Cook.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dane Cook was the first comedian to capitalize on social media.
He was at the right time.
And he was, and everybody else was like, oh, it's a fad, it'll pass. And he's like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So he would be able to, which I was never a big Dane Cook fan when he was young. I'm a fan of him now and the comedy he does now. But back in the day, I was like, oh, this guy's just on meth or something. Nobody has that energy if they're not on something. So it wasn't my cup of tea. But now, listening to his story and the stuff, like his brother robbed him, took all of his money, and he's like, I had this much money left, and I just took it and rented an arena, I think in Florida or something. And he said, and I didn't pay for one bit of advertising. I got on my social media and said, hey, I've got a show coming up here. Here's where you buy your tickets. Yeah. And sold out. But it's because he'd always been so present on social media. Following. He doesn't have to do these big commercials and paid advertising. He can just put it on his social media. But it's because from the very beginning, his goal or his rule was every person that interacts with me, I interact back. Oh, nice. So he spent a ton of time. If somebody commented on something, he commented back. And I watched this deal with him, and he's talking about. He goes, and I still do it to this day. And I was like, let's see. So I went and followed him on Instagram and sent him a message. And within 30 minutes, he messaged me back.
Wow.
Well, man, if that's the broccoli. You got to do that, man.
Yeah. And I at first I was like, but he's also big. Is it him or is it somebody else? There was a ton of shit misspelled. And he tried busting my chops on the question that I asked. I was like, oh shit. Like, I think this is really dang good.
Oh, nice.
And I've messaged him a couple times since then. Every time I message him, he responds.
That's beautiful. I'm going to start messaging Dane
I know,
Cook.
it's like, you might ask him some tips or, you know, I'm sure
That's
he'd be...
So I try to share, like, if anybody shares my stuff, I go, thanks for sharing. You know, or it harkens back to, like, when somebody gives you a review in your business. And then you're like, after you see the review, if you give them a thanks, you just won somebody for the rest of their life, pretty much. Because you showed appreciation. Because, one, they're saying that you're good in front of everybody. You know, it's just a really great way to kind of keep that ball rolling. And then other people read it, too. They're like, oh man, this guy's really nice, and they're easy to work with, and they got a good review. Let's see what they do.
You know, it shows that you're engaged and that you're. It shows other people that if they're gonna do the same thing, that they know what to expect from the entertainer or whoever. So it's good.
Well, and that goes with, you know, I mean, something that I think that. Not bragging, but like I do very well is
to brag.
Add value to yourself. So if you add me to a show, you're gonna get pictures. I'm gonna talk to you about. I'm gonna tell everybody I know. You know.
But by the way, fucking phenomenal pictures.
That's something that I started doing photos for Lively this past summer. And it was, for me, when I started, I just wanted something to do. I was just like, I need to start getting out because I was trying to transition back into the real world after COVID and stuff. And so I was like, I get into some photography. Nick does these shows, so I'm going to start doing photos. And it's like in my head, too, partly because I just wanted to do it. I like photography, and I want to get better at it. But it's like I'm adding value to Nick's shows by offering this, you know, thing that obviously it's like he could pay for it, but if he, you know, it's like, well, I have the skill, and it's like, well, I want to help him, so I'm gonna do it. And that's a part of why I still do it all over the place. Is like I like to go and try to, you know, offer that service to people that might not be able to afford it or want, you know, because it's so important for social media. And I like it so many places that don't do any of that. Or I was talking about like shows or whoever producers putting on shows, and they don't post any, maybe one picture. That's like the bare minimum, you know. Post one photo of each comic, which is good. Like I said, you should always at least do that. But it's like I rarely see anybody do any more than that, and it's just like I think that's a big deal, that something people are missing. So I want to try to add that if I can, like especially people I know, my friends that I want to help succeed. So it's
I think, because you're right, it's one like I always like I didn't take any pictures last night.
Yeah.
Because you
you
were
don't need
going
to.
crazy. I was like, oh, I think he's gonna get better pictures than me.
You don't have
Like
to worry about it.
his lens is way bigger than mine, which is not camera's not usually what I'm talking about. But like whenever there's not a photographer, like I try to take pictures of everybody while they're on stage and send them to them so that way they have pictures of that show so they can post it and share it. Or
But
whatever.
also frees you up when you got somebody else doing
Right.
it. So you can focus on the show.
Yeah.
You don't
And
have
that's
to worry
what
about
I mean.
that.
That's huge help when David comes.
So that's the other thing I was gonna is I'm always real big about, and I try to get the other guys to do it too. Hey, as soon as the show's over, go stand by the door.
Yeah.
So that way
Yeah.
you can thank people
Yeah,
as they
people
go
wanna
out, shake
say-
hands, take pictures, all that stuff. And that's what like, and you know, I've had some give me a little like, well, do I want to take pictures with you? Like, because I made myself available. I didn't, as soon as the show's over, go stand in the corner with the rest of the comics
Right.
and ignore the audience. I want to go over there and shake hands with people. I want to like, hey, thank you very much for coming. If you want to take pictures, let's take pictures. Like I stand next to my merch table because I'm trying to sell some merch. You know, you know, we sold a few shirts last night.
Yeah.
That's just icing. Of course, I don't keep everything I get from merch. I give right back to my merch lady and go, okay,
Yeah.
I need double that order again, you know, whatever.
Which
So-
luckily that can start to pay for itself in a way. I mean, that's the problem with merch, and I know from band stuff, bands always got to have T-shirts. Comics don't really fuck with that a lot. I mean,
They should.
Yeah.
And you're at the level now. You should.
yeah.
I'm about
Get
to.
some
I got something in the
shirts.
works.
Here's like t-shirts. T-shirts and koozies are the two easiest
Yeah.
things.
Koozies are
T-shirts nowadays, and here's my deal. Like I always, like I don't want to get the cheapest T-shirts I can get.
Right.
I want to get T-shirts that
something a little
people
bit
are
quality.
people are happy to pay what they paid for it because it's a comfortable shirt.
Yeah.
So like I don't know what the fuck I got
Yeah,
one on
but
right now, but they're the soft.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Soft
blended,
version or whatever.
I got the loony bin right now.
So yeah, so you know, good shirts and koozies are the easiest thing. I used to have a ton of merch, and I overextended myself.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I've got all this
Too
merch,
much,
and I
and
don't.
it's-
and
it's a lot
It's
of
too much to lug around and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So now, the only other thing that I'll do, which I don't have any koozies either. Like I'm just T-shirts right now.
Yeah.
But I also had ordered some of those silicone
yeah,
bracelets.
little-
Those are so cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if you order 300 of them, they're like 12 cents a piece.
Yeah.
And you can customize them. You know, it's like mine says Matt Ferrell Comedy on it, and on the other side it says this is not toilet paper. That's all it
something
is.
silly,
and
yeah,
they're
it's fun.
12 cents a piece when you order them that much. I sell them
Because you
for
could give
$3 to
them-
$5.
I mean, yeah,
That's beautiful.
with
or
that
sometimes
stuff-
I'll just give them away.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
It's like
that's
that's
even better.
cheap enough because I like to do. I have this website that I get these stickers from. It's called gotprint.com.
Yeah.
It's a great resource for printed stuff, but their stickers are like really cheap. You get a box of 500 stickers or more. You know, I get the 500. It's like $40 for. And it's like I just give those shits away, and they're nice stickers, and people love them because it's like here, stick this on something.
I do have stickers, and I give those. This is my thing I do with the stickers because I messed up when I got the stickers.
Yeah.
Here's what I should have done. I should have had a sticker made with a logo that also had a QR code on it.
Oh, that's a
Something.
good idea.
So that people can scan it and it takes you straight to your link tree, which got all your social media and stuff. I'm gonna order some new ones.
Yeah.
But the stickers I've got now, it's just a circle sticker and it's got MF Comedy on it with a microphone.
Yeah.
Every single Sonic within 20 minutes of my house has got it on the menu.
Yeah.
Every hotel I stay in, you know how you flip up the deal on the air conditioner to adjust the underneath that lid?
funny.
I put a sticker in there. There's already one in the hotel we stayed in last night. And those stickers, I just give them away.
Right.
Yeah.
I just give them
'Cause
away. I mean,
you
if somebody
order a
puts it
bunch
on
of them.
something, great.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a win, dude.
Yeah,
It's something people can
but
see your name.
And I all the time I get people, they'll send me a picture of a Sonic menu. It's got my sticker on it. They're like, "Hey, we saw you were here." I'm like, you damn right, dude. I'm all over the place.
You got to be your own biggest fan.
Yeah.
I feel like
For sure. So on the back of my pickup, I had decals made for the back of my window, and everything used to be Fat Merrill Comedy,
Oh yeah.
which was just because I thought it would be easier to make funny merch with fat in it instead of Matt.
Yeah.
And then the more I think about it, I was like, dude, I don't really want to be known as fat
Yeah.
the rest of my life. I'm gonna be known as fat. But, but name, like, I want my name to be
Right.
known.
That's the.
So I got away from that, but it says, Fat Merrill Comedy across the top window of my truck, and then across the bottom is all the social media links.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And like as soon as I got that done, like people talk shit, and I was like, dude, when you're trying to go somewhere, promotion and marketing, nothing's off limits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true,
Nothing's
man.
like people talk shit because I wear my own shirt.
Yeah.
Why? Why would I not promote
Why
myself?
wouldn't you? Yeah.
Why would I not promote myself? So.
It also saves on laundry. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Just throw that shirt away,
Just
grab
put
another one.
Put a new one out
Oh,
the box.
shit. I used to piss my wife off. Back in the old days, she's like, have you sold any of those, or are you wearing? 'Cause
Yeah,
there's like 14 of the same shirt hanging in the closet. And she was like, well, we don't have any extra larges to sell because you wore them all.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about advice for future. What is one like challenge that you see like for comedians and maybe for like touring comedians, or maybe what is the big challenge that you see in for people that
I think the biggest hurdle that every comic has to overcome is themselves.
right.
Dang.
Is themselves.
Yeah.
Because there's too many people that think, okay, I'm going to go do these open mics, somebody's going to see me, and that's all there is to this.
Right.
That's not it, man. Like, you have to, there's so much work that goes into getting yourself booked or creating your own shows, putting yourself out there, social media, marketing yourself. Those are the things that most of them, because here's the deal, anybody that wants to be a comedian professionally probably doesn't have a great work ethic. They want to work 1 hour a night, and that's all they do.
Yeah, so you're starting at a low level.
You're already starting under the gun. So, but there's, if you want to be successful with it, you have to work. It's not just be funny and show up.
Yeah,
there's so much more to it. And you and I talked about this a little bit last night. I had made this comment to people, and it started an argument online, which I thought was funny. When I said every person that's on the show is responsible for promoting the show. And somebody came back immediately and he said, no, that's on the responsibility of the producer of the show. Yes, it is the responsibility of the producer of the show. It is also the responsibility of every person on the show. If you want people to come see you, you have to let them know that you're going to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to. You're not Bert Kreischer. You're not Tom Segura. You're not, Joe Rogan. You're not these guys that somebody else is doing all the work for them. They did this shit for 20 years and no money. To get to that point of and doing it for themselves. And you want to tell people are like, well, I don't want to annoy the people on my social media with overposting.
Yeah,
dude. Bert Kreischer is the hardest touring comedian on the planet. He does more shows than anybody else. He posts several times a day about shows.
Have you seen his stories where it's just like those little tick marks?
Yeah.
It's mostly.
So if it's working for that guy, you're telling me you're too good to do that? Fuck off.
Yeah, dude. That's
Get
true,
out of
man.
here, dude.
Well, let me ask you this: if you have a comic on your show and you see that they're helping, they're sharing, what's the likelihood of bringing them back out?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I will take somebody and put them on more shows if they've got hustle. Even if they're not as funny.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. Yeah,
because they're gonna get to do more shows. The funny is gonna continue to grow.
They're gonna get better. Yeah,
they've already got the work ethic. They've already got the hustle. They're ready to make the grind. The funny will continue to grow. They've already got the part that most of them don't want to do. Because there's a ton of comics that are hilarious. But they won't do anything to put it out there. This guy's already got or girl has already got the drive to put it out there. The funny will continue to grow. Yeah, 100%. If I, that's the reason that Wayne Morris and I hooked up and kept going. I was like, this dude's got the hustle and grind.
Yeah,
he's got it. He's ready to make it happen. He's willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. Like this is my guy. I'll go with him anywhere we need to go.
This, like, if he wasn't, as if you didn't notice that in him or wherever, it's like you wouldn't have given him the opportunities, or it's like you create each other opportunities.
Right, and because of that now, I would say, I mean, it's equal.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 50-50. Wayne has created just as many opportunities for me as I have for him.
But
But just because of the hustle and grind that he's got, and then I've got to like beat him over the head to take money for what he's doing. Because Wayne, and this is the deal. Like I said, I know Wayne rubs some people the wrong way. I get it. He gets it. He knows that he does. But this is a guy that will, like, he's got a regular job. He's got a good job. He makes decent money. He's doing good for himself. So he's like, I don't need to make money on a comedy. I know that this is all you do for a living. I want you to make the money. When we get to that next level, then I'll start making money. And it is great, but it makes me feel like a piece of shit. Right? So like I'm like, no. So like this show we did last night, he had $75 in paid ads on that show.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, dude, $75 off the top goes straight back to you. Now we start dividing money. So like he's willing to put in, and I don't expect people to, like, you come and do a show and I don't expect you to do paid ads. But I do expect you to fucking share it.
Well, do what you can.
Promote it. Do what
tell
you
your
can.
People, tell the people that follow you.
Talking or speaking to more of like adding value. Adding value, like I said, if I'm showing up, I'm gonna try my best to take pictures and be helpful.
For sure.
And then how can you add value as a comic, and then also push you into doing more shows ultimately.
Because that's what I say.
Lean towards your strengths.
People are gonna recognize whenever you're working hard. People recognize it, and they're gonna want to work with you more.
Exactly.
And I've and so as far as a person that's helping promote and put it out there, obviously, like, I'm interested in working with them because they're going to ultimately they're helping me,
right?
So if by putting them on more shows is me helping them, dude, let's do this. Let's work together. Let's make this happen. But comics who refuse to share or won't post or won't do stuff, like it doesn't matter to me how funny you are if you're not helping get people, because it doesn't matter. You can be the funny. It doesn't matter how funny, Joe Coy is. It doesn't matter how funny he is. If people don't show up, nobody's gonna know how funny he is. So it doesn't matter how great of a comic you are. If you don't help get butts in seats, it doesn't matter. Now, on the other side of that, I'll do a show. We have a rule of 5. If 5 people show up, the show happens. Like, and I don't care how big the venue is. If we've got, and we've had to exercise that rule a couple times where it was a place that would seat 150, and we were like 4 people, and we're like, well, we're fixing to reimburse some money. And then that 5th person showed up and was like, nope, show's on.
That's it.
We're doing the show.
Rule
for
of
5
5.
people. Rule of 5. That's our rule. Then the other side of that is people who won't help promote and won't help put butts in seats. Like, why would we be interested in working with them? If they're not interested in helping make the show better, why would you be interested in working with them? Somebody who backs out on you. It's one, or if something happened, like if they're sick, there was an accident, something happened. 100%, those things are understandable. But if it's over and over of, well, I got this other thing came up, I've got this other deal come up. Let me tell you something. I have been offered shows to go and open or feature for big name comics, and I turned it down because I was already committed to a little bitty VFW in Olney, Texas. But I'd already told those people I was coming. I won't go back on that. Now, if you come to me and go, bro, I know we're supposed to be doing this VFW show, but Bert just called and asked if I want to do the Tops Off tour with him for one show, sold out, 25,000 people. Fucking go. Go. Don't miss that opportunity. But you're telling me that you're backing out on a show because you got an opportunity to open for a local person at a local club. What you're saying is you didn't want to drive. You didn't want to put out the effort. You could stay in town and make 20 instead of driving a ways and making 100. Okay. Now that's only going to happen once or twice, and then I'm going to stop calling.
Because it's like you're going to
it's just and I don't see how anybody can be mad about that.
I don't think
you know what I mean. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or call out names or whatever. I mean, these are just things that we've dealt with, and people are like, I've had people go, "Oh, you think you're getting too big? You don't want to work with us anymore." No. I'm just continuing to work with the people that put out effort.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you do? How do you? So you say that happens. What do you find another comic, or you try to swerve it a little bit? Yeah, catch it.
Dude, I met a guy named Dalton from Enid. I made a post the other day. I had a guy back out on me for a show that we were doing in early Texas, same place we're doing the festival. And the guy backed out and he goes, I got this great opportunity to go do this show at Dallas Comedy Club. I'm like, first of all, Dallas Comedy Club's not what you think it is. Dallas Comedy Club is not great. Okay? I'm not saying if you get an opportunity to go do a show there to pass it up.
Right.
But if you're already committed to one thing that you know pays, and you're going to back out on us to go do that because you think it's a great opportunity, you're being misled. But at the same time, I'm not going to beg you. If you want to back out, that's fine. I'm not going to say, no, you have to come do this show with us. So he backed out. So I just made a post. And I was like, hey, we need another comic. We had a guy fall out. We need another comic for this show. It's in early Texas. And Dalton Packin, I think is his name. He's from Enid. Shoots me a message. I've never met him. Shoots me a message and go, dude, I'll do it. I'm like, it's in early Texas.
Yeah.
It's a 5-hour drive for me. I'm assuming it's going to be at least a 6-hour drive for you.
In Enid,
And he was like, I'll do it. I'll do it. And I'm like, I can't guarantee money. I don't know what ticket sales are.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much money. He goes, as long as I get gas money, I'm good. And I said, I tell you what, I'll cover a hotel for you.
Oh, wow, nice.
Just because he was willing, like this guy out of nowhere is like, dude, I'll do it. I'm willing to do that. I admire that. So I'll cover a hotel room for you. Now, I volunteered to cover the hotel room because it was already covered for me.
What about?
But you're offering something.
Then it backfired, and he goes, well, instead of a hotel room, can I get the money that you would have spent on that for gas to make sure I'm covered? And I'm like, well, shit. I already made the offer, now I can't. But we go, well, technically. So I was like, yeah, I'll cash app you right now. So I cash apped him what I would have spent on a hotel room. And he's like, cool. Shows up, comes down there, winds up doing a killer job. Yeah. Nice. Great. Does a fantastic job. Doesn't want the hotel room. Drives home that night. And I was, but of course the lady, he left as soon as the show was over. And I was like, hey, I'll cash app you. And he's like, all right. Well, then the lady winds up paying me in cash. And I'm like, hey, she paid me in cash. I'll have to cash app you tomorrow when I get the, and he's like, man, I didn't do a good enough job. I really don't. Like, what you gave me for gas is good enough. And I'm like, no, they don't fly. So obviously, we made that happen for him. But that guy,
he deserves it.
Is now going to Tennessee with me.
Nice,
I offered him to do another show that's not too far from him because that guy's willing to fucking grind. That guy's willing. You have to be willing to drive for nothing. Just to get in front of somebody new. That's the game, is get in front of as many people as you can so they know who you are. They're introduced to your comedy. They're either going to like you or they're not. But if they do, now you've got them. Building a fan base is what it's about.
Dude, I went to Lawton to do a set in front of an old folks home. I found out that I'm really good at that.
I've done 2 nursing home shows.
Dude, they're fun, dude.
Because the first one was extremely uncomfortable.
Was it?
Yeah. Because it was all just the residents of the nursing home. So it was a lot of this. And as soon as I only did like 10 minutes. And as soon as I was done, the lady that asked me to come do it, she's like, they loved it. And I'm like, how can you tell? Nobody
they had to turn their oxygen up.
Some of those people haven't blinked yet. Like, I don't know what's going on. And she's like, I promise you, like, that was the highlight of their week. So then she asked me to come back, and I went and did it on Christmas Eve. And this time, all the employees knew that I was. So there were employees that came in on their days off, so they could just come and watch the little comedy show that was going on. I did 10 minutes for them, but this time I had a full audience and had great laughter. And so I was like, all right, that one was fun. The first one I was like,
that was
are you okay?
Because
I tell jokes that I'm like, oh, I'm in my 40s now. I'm getting older. Yeah. I'm telling that joke to people that are 92, and they're like, "Fuck you!" Like, I just shit my pants. Like, what are you talking about? You getting old?
It's a daily occurrence.
Yeah. I'm being offensive to them. So.
Yeah. No, but it's like,
so that's where it's at. Like. People that are willing to grind and put out the effort, I am willing to work with them 100%. People that are not and think that everything should be handed to them, you can sit there and keep waiting.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to continue to hand you stuff. Like, there are several people that we all know that I have put on a lot of shows that never put me on anything, and they never promoted. So then when I quit putting them on shows, now their feelings they're mad at me. Because, you just don't work with me anymore? No. Like, I started working with other people that help. Yeah. Like, how do you not understand that? So. Yeah. And I'm okay now with ruffling those feathers.
Yeah.
Because all the shows I did put them on because I didn't want to hurt feelings. Yeah. I didn't want anybody to be mad at me. I wanted everybody to stay friends. And then eventually got to the point where I was like, dude, I'm hustling my ass off for other people, and they're getting paid. Yeah. It's not like I'm asking them to come do shows for free. That's like, I'm not trying to get into money, but I would hope that what you got for hosting a show last night is more than you've ever got for hosting.
That was more than I've ever got.
And
that's more than I get from my shows.
And we 100% think that that's fair. Like it's not like we're, hey dude, let's overpay this guy. No, of the money that was brought in and the work that you put in to help him promote the show, hook this guy up. Yeah, like throw some money. Throw some money to the people that are making it happen. Like that's how you get them to continue to do it.
Yeah. Well, when we have a show go good, I try to pay everybody that I can that, what they can get out of it. You know, we try to split it. But also, if the people don't show, that's also representation of the work not put in. Yeah. You know? Other than the weather that one time.
Yeah.
But I can't help
that sucks. Like I was really looking forward to coming up and doing it.
Yeah, me too. Well, we're gonna.
You rescheduled, and it would. But I was
the week after,
and it was the day after I was in early, so I would have had to drive 6 hours home, or about 5 hours home. Probably shower, change clothes, and then an hour and a half up here, an hour and a half back. So that would have wound up being, 8 hours on the road for me that day. Yeah. And I was like, dude, like I said, I'm not good at driving. Yeah. This is another tip that I'll throw out there. I know you're talking about whining and but last tip. When you start booking shows out, don't book anything that's more than three. The person I heard that gave me this advice said 5. Don't book anything more than 5 hours away. If you drive more than 5 hours in a day, it wears you out. Oh, yeah. Now that affects your show that you do that night. Okay. I try to keep it around 3 hours. Like I try not to drive more than 3 hours in a day to the next show. Now sometimes that's, inevitable. You're going to have to drive more than that. But plus 3 hours from here to, I don't know what's 3 hours from here. It don't matter. Dallas, Tulsa's an hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and a half.
So an hour and a half distance between these two spots. It's still two completely different demographics. You're not pulling from the same audience, so it's okay. So if you're 3 hours away, you're definitely completely different audience. You're not oversaturating an area or whatever. So as long as I'm 3 hours away,
that's good. Yeah,
book another show like when you're traveling like that. But so that way you're not doing so much now. Like those guys that are not driving themselves. Yeah. Or they're in the back of a tour bus sleeping, or they're just flying from one place to the next. They can do that shit across the country. But while you're still at the level of driving yourself, try not to book. 3 to 5 hours is the most you want to drive in a day. Yeah. And to where it doesn't affect your show.
And then you usually try to stay in the spot, and then you'll come back the next day, or try to book something for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah. I try to book in threes, which doesn't happen as often as I'd like. I'd love to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Leave the house Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, depending on how far it is. Drive to wherever the show's going to be. Get a hotel for that night there. As soon as the show's over, go to sleep. Get up, drive, 2, 3, 4 hours to the next spot. Go ahead, go straight to my hotel. Get everything set up. take a nap if you got time, which I'm not good at napping. Shower, change,
Rest,
do whatever it
release.
takes to freshen yourself up and just feel good, so that when you walk in, you feel fresh, you're ready to rock and roll. Sleep that night, get up, drive to the next one, and just do it that way. That's the and try and obviously try to do it in a row.
Don't go going back and forth for sure.
Yeah. Which I've done some of. I've definitely not looked at a map when I booked some shit. So I'm like, fuck.
So once you start,
I gotta drive through the town I'm doing tomorrow to get to the town I'm doing today. Like, shit.
But yeah, once you start doing that more and more, you start to figure out what cities you can connect.
Yeah,
probably.
for sure. And anytime I'm traveling, like you go through a town and it's like, hey, this is the business route, which will cut through a downtown of someplace. If I'm driving, I've got plenty of time. I always leave, and there's another thing that drives me crazy is comics that show up when it's time for the show to start. But come on, dude, get there early. Help set up. Help carry some shit in. Walk around, shake hands with people, thank people for coming to the show. Like, that's all part of it. So comics that walk in and go, all right, it's showtime. Bitch, who do you think you are? Fucking show up and help. But anyway, but if I leave in plenty of time, I'll take that business route and cut through the middle of a downtown and go, oh shit, that's a cool looking theater. Write that down.
Nice.
Or hey, they got a big that VFW's definitely got a banquet hall. Write that one down. So then when I get home that next week, I'm making phone calls going, hey, so I passed through your town, so you got a great venue, love to, I'm a comic from Oklahoma, I'm always looking for new venues. Comedy something you'd be interested in. I told you the spill when I go, we don't really do comedy anymore. Oh, but you do bands? So I've got that, that arsenal that I'll fire at them if I need to, and that's how you work on booking shows. And then when they go, what date are you thinking? Then I got to hurry up and look at the calendar and go, okay, I got nothing this weekend, and I think that I can book. If I can get this one, then I'll work on getting that one and that one.
Oh, that's good.
So now I'll work it through.
How often do you revisit a place?
Sometimes more than I think I should. Sometimes we book, multiple times in a year at one place. When it's still new, that's okay. The more times you do it, the more you need to spread out, because you're going to wind up getting the same audience.
What would be ideal?
No more than twice a year.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, no more than twice a year. Some people try to book they just want to keep, because the first one went great, and they're like, let's do that again. Let's do that again.
Always leave them wanting more.
And then it starts tapering off. Unless you're constantly bringing in new comics with you, so that the show's staying fresh.
But you're keeping you and Wayne, and then kind of adding to that, right?
Yeah. And a lot of times I'll do this. So like if I'm booking someplace, and I'm like, hey, do y'all have any local comics that that would be interested in coming and hosting? So that way, and it's two things. One, you're including somebody local, so that makes you look like a nice person. But also, they're local. They're going to help sell tickets because they know people there.
Right.
That's a good point.
So like using local people is always a good idea to help you promote the show. Sometimes you can't. Like sometimes you're just not going to know anybody, and they don't know of anybody. But I've also had local radio personalities. They'll come out and host the show.
Oh,
It's awesome when you can do that, because if they're on the show, they can promote it on the radio for free.
About it all week or whatever.
If I call the radio station and go, hey, I want to promote the show, they're going to be like, cool, it's going to cost you $1,500 for us to talk about it for 30 seconds twice. Like, fuck, what? Does anybody listen to the radio anymore?
Not for that.
Dude, radio is stupid expensive. It's stupid expensive. But if you get a radio personality, like, hey, would you be interested in coming and hosting this comedy show? Like, yeah, for sure. Like, cool. Be sure you mention it. And now they can talk about it for free all they want, because they're part of the show. So it doesn't cost you anything. You got to come up with ways to be cheap. When you're broke,
you got to work with what you got.
Eat some sandwiches. You know what I mean? So, those are all things like get out of town. Work with people that are interested in working. Reward the people that do good. And then obviously all the normal stuff. Try to keep your drive in between shows,
that's great,
reasonable, so that you don't wear yourself out. And
I like the circles. Just like trying to work a circle, then build that foundation, and go to the next one, and then you can always come back, like you said. At a certain point, like I kind of see it now, where it's like, okay, we are oversaturating the little OKC area that we have,
the
right?
audience
Because now we're
here.
having to start bringing people in from out of town, but that also means that okay, well, outside of that, I'm not known.
Right.
So now I need to try to get to these other places. I really love that idea.
Yeah.
So because that was one of my goals for this year was to try to get out and get people from out of town into the shows.
Right.
So I'm really liking that, and I really appreciate it.
And here, like, I always, everything should be a two-way street.
So,
Like, hey, you put me on some shit.
Oh, okay.
I should put you on stuff
Yeah.
because you did it for me.
Absolutely.
It's not like why it'd be shitty of me not to put you on stuff because you did it for me. Why wouldn't I do it for you?
Right.
You know. So and then you'll work with people a few times that you realize that it's not a two-way street.
Yeah.
Stop working with them. I mean, and it doesn't like don't be shitty to them. Don't go. You know, you ain't got to tell them to fuck off, but just stop calling them.
Yeah. Just go.
You know, and then when they like, hey, like you got a bunch of stuff going on. Can you be on something? I'm like, well, do you got anything going? Like, let's trade.
Yeah.
Because I see you're doing a bunch of stuff. I'm not getting any phone calls. You know, and don't be like this. Like you said this to me, and this blew my mind. The first time I talked to you about coming up here and doing something with you, and you said I hadn't called you because I didn't think I could afford you.
Yeah. I think that about a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like I don't assume that they're just going to be able to do it.
But you'll never know unless you ask me.
Well, I started asking after you said that. You're like, dude, just ask. Like, and that I have a little bit of just like what do you call it? What is it? When
Anxiety.
Imposter syndrome. Just because I've been doing it for such a little time.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think I come off as very professional.
Yeah.
But as I continue to go, it was never a problem when I started my business because I had to make my money to eat. But now it's like, well, I don't want to ask Matt and then him be like, who's this fucking kid? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then it was like, oh no, everybody wants
I
to
think
be
it's
on the
funny
show.
that you think you're young enough that I would refer to you as a kid. You're not that much goddamn younger than me.
Yeah,
I'm not that old.
But as far
as shit.
It's like, hey, I'm sorry. Are you a grandpa?
Not yet.
Was it like tomorrow or something?
No.
Okay.
She's doing May.
You still got that old balls.
I'll be a grandpa in May.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there.
Right.
I'll switch then.
Good point. Fucking point taken. All right.
No, but it is.
I told you I was real good with grandpas.
My target audience.
Yeah, as far as like Nick, you know, we feel like we're just now getting into this kind of whole community and people that have been doing it for a decade or you know whatever. Like you, it's like it feels intimidating for sure at some points for sure.
Well, I do understand that, and I appreciate it because that means that, all right, hey, I've worked hard enough that I've got to the point where people look at me like that.
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate that. Hey, fucking good job. You know what I mean? But like, I just messaged Dane Cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he responded.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the worst that can happen is they don't respond.
Or no. Yeah.
It's the same thing as going to a club and trying to pick up chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just ask them if they want to fuck.
Worst thing.
Man,
The worst they can say is no.
There's this old country boy that I used to know. He's an old man. He's one of the I don't know, so confident. You know, just like an old school oil guy. You know, and just did not care about anything. And his son was Josh Sparks. Good friend of mine at the time, and then but you remind me a lot of this guy just because of the way you look and demeanor. He was way more country, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how more country you can get from being a rodeo guy. But we went to Graham's.
Yeah.
And we're standing in the middle, and there's like the hip hop part, and there's the boot scoot part, and we're standing in the middle, and I just became single, and he's like, "Here's what you do, buddy. Come on," and he like brings it in there. He goes, and then as a girl would walk from one place to the other, he would go, "Hey, girl." And she'd walk on, and then he'd like, "No, just wait." And then another girl would come in, and he'd be like, "Hey, girl," and then she would come over. He's like, "Hey, what you doing?" And then he'd talk to her a little bit, and then she'd go on, and be, "Hey, girl." 30 minutes doing "Hey, girl." He finally gets him a girl, and then now they're talking, and every night this old 60-year-old man would take home a 30 to 40-year-old woman.
Yeah.
He's just you're playing the numbers, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just can't be worried about hearing no.
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, that's the hardest thing about booking shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, like I used to, which I don't hit booking shows as often as I used to, which seems seems backwards because I'm booking more now. But now I get a lot more phone calls instead of me making calls.
You don't have to go.
So
out
like I say a lot. It's still not where I want to be, but like I used to tell people, like, dude, I make 100 phone calls a day, and I get 99 no's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm making those calls for one yes, and that's brutal. That will make you respect telemarketers.
Yeah.
As much as you fucking hate when they call you, just imagine their life of no, or hang up, or fuck you, lose my, take my number off the list, hang up. Like, they have to deal with that every day. That's what they do for a living. So then I'm making 100 phone calls a day trying to get one yes. That one yes is what makes me get up tomorrow and make 100 more phone calls.
Okay.
And that's a not for everybody,
Right.
you know, but that's what you got to do. Otherwise, those places don't know you're trying to book shows.
Right.
Now, here's the other good thing about My Peacock is we're willing to share the information.
Yeah.
Like, we've got with all the places that we book shows. You want to go do some shows down there? I'll give you the contact information of places that we already know are interested in comedy.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't have to make 100. I'll give you the. The other day I gave a friend of mine 13 phone numbers to call. And he's a musician.
Yeah.
And I know he's wanting to get down into Texas more. And I was like, hey, dude, here's 13 places that I've performed that I think you would fit.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There you go. There's the information. There's the phone numbers, the places that they're at. You can call them. Start getting them in order of where you would want to perform.
Yeah.
Like, it's for, you know, look on the map and see where you'd want to travel, and then call them in that order and try to set up those dates as you go. You know what I mean? So, but that's a brutal part of it. Is
just the
is the sitting down and making the phone calls. It sucks.
That's why
sucks.
I started my website, was to start booking. To actually start, like, have a place where people can land. It looks professional, and start booking.
You bet. And like put together an EPK and just blast it out there.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? How do you approach that?
The EPK?
Yeah.
You just like go, like, I'll get on and look up every place, like look up comedy shows in Oklahoma. And like every little bar that's ever had a comedy show will pop up.
Yeah.
Every little bar that's ever advertised they had a comedy night
You could
will
find
pop
it,
up. So then now you go click on their Facebook page, and it'll have their email address on there, and go, okay, I'm gonna take that email address, copy and paste my EPK, send it. Now go to the next
What's
one.
your EPK look like?
It's just like a short bio, couple headshots, and a link to a YouTube video.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not even that bad.
No.
Yeah.
That's why
Is
I
that
say
the press thing you were
Yeah,
talking about?
it's
Yeah,
electronic press kit.
I mean,
Back in the old days, you had to mail a
it was actual
VHS tape to
physical.
somebody, you know, with a letter
bunch
in
of
it.
losers.
yeah, you had to pay for
That must have been
shipping.
tough, man.
Yeah, you had to pay for shipping on your EPK.
Yeah. No, but that's
I love when somebody tells something that fucking hits them harder than it does everybody else in the room. It's like, oh shit, that was a good one. Yeah. These old jokes are getting old.
That's your new TikTok right there. The last question that we usually ask, just as kind of a fun little thing, what is your worst bomb?
My worst bomb, I don't remember. And here, it's because I was drunk.
yeah.
Because I was drunk. And I'm sure that there were several of them.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were several, because there's been a lot of times when I woke up the next day and said, well, how'd it go last night?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know, and that's what, you know, Isaiah Blue? Isaiah Blue's a young comic from Tulsa. Very, very funny. Good kid. He's real young. I think he just turned 21. And I told him the other day, I was like, hey, man, like, wait until the show starts to start drinking.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not telling you to stop drinking.
Right.
I'm not that guy. I'm not saying, oh, you should quit drinking or whatever. But, like, wait till the show starts before you start drinking. So that way your buzz hits while you're on stage.
Yeah.
But if your drunk has already taken over by the time you get on stage, you're not going to do a good job.
Yeah.
You know, you're not able to pay attention to how the audience is reacting. You can't shift gears. You know, you're just not aware. You're not present. And of course, I was telling him all this after he was already drunk.
Yeah, he was.
So,
wasn't gonna help him.
He did message me the next day and go, I do remember the conversation, and you were right. But that's and this is when it hit for me. Is one day I put on the persona on stage that I don't drink. I do drink.
Yeah.
And I'll usually wait until after show and I'll have a few beers or whatever. But I put on the persona on stage that I don't drink because I don't want people sending drinks to the stage.
Okay.
Which that was becoming a problem. I would have
Interesting. Yeah.
I'd have 12 to 15 shots
On stage?
while
Oh, wow.
and while you're up there and you feel obligated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, you know, and so I take a shot. So I used to take a bucket of beer on stage with me, and I could kill 6 beers in an hour.
Yeah.
You know, while I was up there, you know, doing it, and that's not bad. I mean, drink a 12-pack and still drive home.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's
But everybody was like, "Oh shit, this guy's drinking. He's here to party. Send him 4 shots."
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck. So there's a time when I did a show and I probably did an hour and a half. That was not the plan. The plan was to do an hour.
Yeah.
I did an hour and a half. So the next day I woke up and asked my wife, "So how'd the show go last night?" She goes, "I'm gonna be honest with you." She goes, "Everybody enjoyed it. Everybody had a good time. But if it was recorded and you could watch it back, you'd be disappointed in yourself."
Oh, really?
And I was like, "Fucking point taken." I don't know why that hit me so hard. I was like, "All right, that's it." So like every once in a while I'll take a beer on stage with me. But I try to, like I said, put on the persona that I don't drink. Plus, it's also one of my opening jokes is I had to slow down drinking.
Yeah.
So if you go up there with a fucking bucket and go, "Well, I slowed down drinking," I'm like, "Holy fuck, what were you doing before?" Yeah. Walking up there with a suitcase, you know. So I really have. I encourage people not, whether it's drinking or weed or anything else.
Overdo it.
Don't overdo it before you go on stage because it will affect your performance and you'll be upset with yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
You
something
know,
that I noticed.
Doesn't matter how great the show goes, you'll be upset with yourself.
Yeah.
I definitely notice whenever there's comics that are visibly like slurring their words and stuff like that. I think it's a bad look. It's you look like you're a mess on stage, and it's like, even if it's just a slight slur of words, it's like, oh, you had a little bit too much to drink. I mean, a lot of people might not notice that, especially if they're drinking, because I don't drink anymore. I quit drinking entirely almost a year ago, actually. But so maybe now I just notice it way more than I ever used to. But I don't know. It's just something I noticed even recently with comics in particular.
Yeah.
And I've that was I don't know how many of those shows I had.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it was ridiculous because I would get hammered every time.
Obviously, they were having a good time. They were sending you drinks.
Yeah. Either that, or they were like, "Fuck, we need to get this guy drunk. He sucks." I don't know.
It became a game.
Yeah,
It's like throwing a tomato at the guy in the dunk tank.
But I have shit on the side of the highway on my way home because I drank too much. I've shit in my own driveway.
That's just a good time.
Yeah. Well, we pulled up the house. I was passed out in the passenger seat. My wife woke up and she said, "Hey, we're home. Let's go inside." I said, "I got shit." And she goes, "Well, get up and come inside and you can go shit." And of course I was drunk, so I took offense to it. I was like, "It's my goddamn house. I'll shit in the driveway if I want." And she said, "You do what you feel like you got to do." So to prove a point, I shit in my driveway.
That's a good wife, dude.
And then I got up the next day and was like, "Who's shitting our driveway?"
If you would have recorded it, you'd have been disappointed.
Yeah. I don't remember my worst bomb. I wish that I had a funny story to go with it or whatever, but I don't. But I'll say this: my favorite show that I've ever done. It was me, and I had booked 3 other comics, and all 3 of them backed out on me.
Oh shit!
Now this show was billed. We had pre-sale tickets. It was a phenomenal venue. It was in Medicine Park at the Music Hall. Awesome venue. All 3 of them backed out on me last minute. Now the show was already had tickets sold, and the show was billed to be a 2-hour-long show. I was like, "What the fuck do you do now?"
What do you do?
I do a 2-hour show.
Oh!
I did 2 hours and 20 minutes by myself.
Damn.
Never lost a single person.
Yeah.
Everybody in the audience stayed engaged the whole time, and I had so much fun doing it. The only reason I quit at 2 hours and 20 minutes because I was drinking, but I was just drinking beer and I wasn't going crazy.
Yeah.
But I was, I had a bucket of beer on stage and I was drinking. I had to pee so fucking bad.
You're like a guy
that I had to cut the show at 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's my favorite show that I ever did.
Yeah.
And it was audience of 80.
What'd you do? Like roll with the punch? You kind of like out of your head, or what?
Yeah. So I did my regular set, and then just in between stuff, I would
stretch it out.
I'm not a crowd work guy, but for that day, I didn't have a fucking choice. So I would tell a joke, it hit that guy. Let's engage in conversation.
Yeah.
Let's pick on this guy because, he also has been pulled over by the cops. So now I pick on this guy, and then I go on to the next joke. It affected that guy. All right, so let's go in on this. So I mean, that was the only way that I could come up with to stretch it.
Yeah.
Then there were a couple of people there that I'd known for a long time, So I was able to, like, while I'm doing it, I'm like, okay, me and that guy, one time, we were at a strip club. I used to go to strip clubs all the time to shoot pool. I didn't give a shit about the chicks. I mean, don't get me wrong, I looked at their titties.
Yeah.
But that was not what I was there for. None of those girls are going home with me.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't want them to. But strip clubs are full of GIs that pay zero attention to the game, and they'll play for $20 a rack. So I would go to the strip club to play pool all the time, and I'd make pretty good money. And this is when I was 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy that would go with me all the time. Now, he is a big guy. Back then, I was a lot skinnier. He always weighed 200 pounds more than me. So I was 145, he was 345. Yeah. He's a big guy. He was also a big teddy bear. Like, didn't want to fight, didn't want to do with fighting, but he looked big, so he was like,
intimidating.
Nobody would fuck with me.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom. He would always let me know when he wasn't going to be close to me, so I wouldn't talk too much shit. And he goes, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. I'm like, all right. So I'm in the middle of this game, and we built it up, so we're playing for like $60 a rack on this game. Oh, wow. And he goes to the bathroom. Pretty soon he comes back out, and he goes, we got to go. And I'm like, dude, I'm in the middle of a game. He goes, dude, we got to go. And I'm like what? He goes, we got to fucking go now. Like, he's amped, and he's such a level-headed guy. He's so pumped. Like, I can see it. Something's really bothering him. So, I take I take 2 shots. It was playing 9-ball. I fucking comboed a 9-ball, pick up my money. We fucking walk out real quick, and I'm like, what's wrong? He goes, I just fucking killed a guy in the bathroom.
What?
And I'm like, what? And he's like, I was standing there, I was taking a piss. He goes, this guy comes in behind me, starts talking shit. I can tell he's fixing to put hands on me. I just turned around and swung. He goes, the guy went down. And I'm like, did you check for a pulse? Like, what do you mean you killed him? And like, he had never been in a fight like this before.
Oh, okay.
So he's freaking out. And he goes, no, I didn't check for a pulse. Like, a guy went down. He looks like he's dead. I just ran out of the bathroom, came and got you. And I'm like, dude, we gotta go back in. Like, I gotta make sure this dude's not dead. So as we walk back in, this guy's buddies are carrying him out of the bath. He just knocked him out.
Yeah.
But he never knocked anybody out before, so he's in a fucking panic.
Especially, because
so that story got told because that guy was there, and so were his parents. And I said, and his mom never really liked me because I was always the guy that got him into trouble. So I said, let me tell you what your son did. So I told that story. I was able to, there were people there that I knew. Yeah. And I was able to tell personal stories that everybody would enjoy. It was a perfect storm.
For sure.
It shouldn't have happened. It all worked out great, and we were able to move on. So that's my favorite show I ever did. It was 2 hours and 20 minutes by myself because 3 other comics backed out on me last minute.
That's one of our favorite stories right now.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was a lot of fun.
That's a triumph.
Fun. I'll quit.
That's beautiful.
Stop.
All right.
Well, thanks, Matt, for coming, dude. This has been a blast.
Oh, wait, let me tell you about this.
Yeah, go for it.
No, I'm just fucking.
One more.
4-hour podcast. Let's do it.
Let's do it. This is some Joe Rogan shit.
I think it's been one of the most, I think you've got so many tips and ideas, and I think the things that you've been doing for so long, trying to put these shows together and being successful, finding success in them. It's been a great resource to have you on and share what you've learned with everyone. Man,
I appreciate you. I enjoy, this is so much fun.
Yeah.
If I wasn't doing this, my wife would probably have me in a store somewhere.
Yeah.
She's just sitting in a hotel room right now waiting on me to come back. She'd probably be needing to buy some shit we don't really need. Or I would have just gone home last night and I would have waited until it was time to drive to Tulsa. So I enjoy doing these kind of things. I encourage you to reach out to people that you don't think you can get. The worst they can say is no. You guys both are fantastic people. I enjoy both of you very, very much. You both have great heads. Fucking, you murdered it last night. You're a very funny comic. I was just gesturing at you. I saw you.
I was like,
we can shake hands. It was good. You did a fantastic job last night. I've not seen you do any material that I didn't think was quality.
Oh, thanks.
Fantastic. I really enjoy it. Dave, I appreciate you.
I
appreciate everything that you bring to the table. The pictures, the video, the helping do this kind of stuff is amazing. I I hope that you know how valuable of a friendship you got over here. And every person that's in entertainment wishes they had one of you. So
we've been together since
guys.
6th grade. We've been
working together for a long time.
Talk about those kind of things.
Well, listen, man. Hey, Liz knew that when she got into this. You know what I'm saying? He was here before she was here. He'll be here after.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it is
a great time.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Y'all have a good one. And we also would love any information that you have for shows that you like to get for us to put out. So anytime we can do that, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just do the upcoming events for Friday, February 2nd. You want to start us off with this first event?
You got it. All right. So upcoming events, we got Dr. Pants and Dion Warlock at Point A Gallery, Friday, February 2nd, 8 p.m. Dr. Pants plays their first full band show since 2019. How about that? And Dion Warlock bring their special brand of weirdness at the awesome Point A Gallery. It's $10. It's all ages. Need we say more? We really, really hope to see you there. So Point A Gallery, really great place.
Yeah,
we'll keep trying to support
down the street from here. I like it a lot. They're doing a lot of events, and particularly music, which they're getting. I haven't been to a show there. I've been to comedy there. They do some comedy stuff and different things, but they do a lot of music. The stage there is pretty cool. It's small, but it's a nice little stage, especially for a big enough stage for bands. Definitely big enough for comedy. But it's I'm definitely gonna check this out because it's down the street. I got nothing else going on Friday. And I love Dion Warlock. Dr. Pants has been around here for years and years. I've just known the name for a long time, so I've never seen them before, so it'll be interesting to check that out. So we just wanted to shout that event out Friday. And then Saturday, my friends are coming back. Mycelium Gallery closed its first location. They're moving into a bigger location. It's still not ready yet, but they're doing a fundraiser on Saturday, February 3rd from 6 to 9. They're going to have live painting, some class demonstrations, live music, silent art auctions, and a live auction. And they're going to have raffles, prizes. They're just trying to do some stuff to raise money because they're putting in they have a bigger location where they could build they build like immersive art, kind of like Factory Obscura. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but it's along those lines. But they're obviously on a smaller scale, but they're super creative people. And they also do a lot of, they're a gallery too, so they have art on display. And the event's going to be at their new space, and it's going to be $10 tickets in advance, and then they have a $12 ticket at the door. But it's going to be fun. I'm excited to check it out. I still haven't even seen the new place yet, personally. I used to go to their old place like every weekend. I was there just hanging out. They're always doing little events anyway, so... But I was just thinking the other day, I was like, something's missing. It's like, I haven't been in the damn gallery in like a month.
Almost need it.
So I'm excited about this. So hopefully you guys can come check that out and follow them. Go to myceliumgallery.com for all the information. And I think they're selling tickets on that website. So hope to see you guys out there. And then there's a comedy show also on Saturday, but this one's... outside of Oklahoma City, but
yeah, it's gonna be Hinton, Oklahoma. This is Lakeside Comedy Show, Saturday, February 3rd at 7:30 p.m. featuring a really great list of comedians. Some I'm sure you know. We got Pat Ferris.
Very funny.
Yeah, very funny guy. One of my favorites too. He's very good at crowd work.
Yeah.
And then we have Tyler Barris, up and comer. He's been killing it. I don't know him. I saw him at Othello's just slay these young kids, man. Just like for cool 5 minutes. Yeah.
Cool.
And then we got Tyler Barris and then Brandon Kilo.
Brandon, very, very funny.
That's going to be hosted by John Wallen, too.
John?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's a killer lineup right there. And it's only $10. You know what I'm saying? Normally, you go see a show like that, that's $35.
Where is it? Is it in Hinton?
Hinton, Oklahoma.
It says Bowling's Place.
Bowling's Place, yeah.
I don't know who exactly set this up, but it's cool because it's like a lake. It's called Lakeside Comedy Show. So I don't know what exactly this place is, but I mean, if you're in Hinton or around that area, check it out for sure. It'll be a great, like I said, great lineup of comics. It'll be a great show. I wish if I could, I'd love to see this lineup of comics if I, was around that area or whatever. So.
Yeah, which Tyler's the only one I haven't seen. I know the other three guys are all
very
fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So that's got to be a great show.
Yeah. So luckily I pulled that show so I could shout it out, particularly because we aren't really affiliated with it, but we know all these guys, and they're both. Brandon and John have both been on the show, so friends of the show. Check,
I thought, that's great.
Go support them. And then while I printed out, I was gonna say, you and Andrew Patterson are doing a show on Sunday, February 18th, which is a little ways out, but I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that. And Avenue Tattoo Studio in Lawton. I know you know a lot about that. So
Andrew Patterson, I know you guys have both been there. Andrew Patterson is a phenomenal tattoo artist. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, he's one of the best, especially in black and white.
Yeah.
All of my shit is done by him. But then on top of that, he turned his tattoo studio into a comedy club. When you tell people that, they're like, "Oh, that sounds creepy."
Yeah.
But then they go, and it's so classy. It's so nice. It's a beautiful venue, and he does shows there all the time. He's given up and coming comics opportunities. He does a fantastic thing. Like I said, he's a guy that is super focused on comedy right now, and helping other people. He doesn't do any of it for his own glory.
Right.
He does do it for his own stage time, and he's not afraid to tell you that.
But he's earned it.
He's definitely earned it. But so we put together this show. It's just going to be he and I. He's going to feature for me. I'm going to headline a show. I don't do shows in Lawton very much because that's my hometown. That's where I'm from, and I feel like I've kind of rode that horse to death.
Everybody knows
but
you
it's
there.
been quite a while since I've done a full show there, so we decided it was time. And so February 18th, which is is it a Sunday?
Sunday,
It's a Sunday. We're gonna do a show there.
So.
But it's gonna be a great one. Dude, I love Comedy Alley.
I know,
It's like one of my favorite places to play.
It's a fantastic place.
I think if you're anywhere around Lawton, you gotta check this place out because it's a cool spot.
I think in February he usually tries to just do 2 shows a month there. But I think in February he's got like 6 or 8 shows.
Oh wow!
I think I might have talked him into a couple. And he's like, "Thanks a lot. I try to keep my schedule done." I'm like, "Hey man."
Well, he's got those open mics too that he's doing.
Yeah, I talked him into those too.
Which that'll be good, I think, probably for him and Lawton. I'm sure to get more people from in that community to try comedy and get
and for the comics there, they're like, we've got some really good comics down in the Lawton area, but it's an hour and a half drive to go to an open mic for any of them, so
that'll be good. I think
it just means most of them don't get very much open mic time.
I saw that he was doing that and I was like, that's really good for that town for sure to have open mic.
I would also,
and on that stage,
if y'all don't mind me throwing one out there, the first and third Wednesday of every month at the Sidebar in Lawton, there's an open mic contest that's run by Braden Ehrlich and Ryan LaPointe. Those guys, we used to, My Peecock Comedy used to do an open mic contest in Lawton every other week. That bar wound up shutting down, and I was just going to kind of let it go for a while, and they asked if they could take it over.
And
so they fly that show under the My Peecock flag. It's the first and third Wednesday of every month at Sidebar in Lawton. Open mic contest, cash prize for first place.
Oh, nice.
Awesome deal. Ryan LaPointe and Braden Ehrlich are the ones that run that.
All right, keep a lookout for that too, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Well, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks, Matt, for coming over.
Thank you guys very much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
This is So,
thanks for letting me eat up 3 hours of your.
No,
it's well worth it. I learned a lot. Dude. I learned a lot. I learned that I could hear no.
It's okay.
It's okay.
All right. Well, that's it.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
There's 2 different types of men in the world. There's men that are protectors and men that are not protectors. And I'm not one to say what type of man is better or worse. There's just 2 different types of men. But there is a real easy test that you can do to figure out what kind of man you got. Okay? You just send him to take the trash out after dark, and you just watch him out the window, right? And see how he acts. If he walks real calm out to that dumpster, throws the bag in the dumpster, and then walks real calm back to the house, this guy ain't scared of nothing. right? And he'll protect you. He's got you. But if he walks real calm out that dumpster, throws a bag in, and then runs his ass back to the house, this guy's scared of the dark, and he ain't going to save you from nothing, right? I am in group number 2. Right? And it's okay because my wife knows this about me, right? We had this conversation from the very beginning. I said, if a 6'8" some bitch comes through that door, I'll fight him to the death for you, babe. But if something goes bump in the night, bitch, you on your own. I can't save you from the boogeyman, and I ain't gonna try, right? When I take a trash out, I lift the bag, but I go ahead and turn my hips and get ready for the run before I let the bag go, right? I'm scared of the dark, and I ain't afraid to say it. My wife knows this about me, but my kids don't. My kids still think I'm fearless and I can save them from anything. So I don't realize one night when my 7-year-old followed me to the dumpster. All right, so I get out there to that dumpster. I lift the bag. I go ahead and turn my hips, get ready for the run. I drop the bag. I turn. I make eye contact with this little motherfucker. Thought it was a goddamn chupacabra, right? So I drop kicked his ass and I ran him over on the way to the house. All right, I get in the house, I'm leaning against the refrigerator, huffing and puffing, trying to catch my breath. My wife said, where's your son? I said, fuck it, we can't save him now. They done got him. We can make another one. I ain't going after him.